2 rounds to go here in the round of 8 before we crown a champion in Fontana. Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Young. I'm taking the lead here tonight as we are here at Chicagoland. 2 rounds to go before the round of 8 includes and the finale in Fontana. It is going to be a wild ride, but obviously I am not here alone on this magical journey. I'm here with Carmen Sienna, who's back and better than ever. Well, semi-better after her little ballad she's had. And Kristina Ryan, as always, who was a great co-commentator last week at Watkins Glen. Right now, in the middle of qualifying, as cars are going to get ready and head out on the track. And the first car is right now that number 19 machine of Byron Jones, back in the number 19. Obviously, a driver that's had a good run at Watkins Glen last week. Not in the playoffs, though, as he's just here to have a good finish of the year and try to bring some good glory for that number 19 and help get some extra owner's points to try to get a little bit of a better payout for that car in question. Obviously, Chicagoland, a track no longer on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and barely used at all, as it is still presented in the fantasy world of iRacing and can be raced to the heart's content, including all the HTL drivers here tonight. Jones will now cross the line and start his flying lap, and you'll see as we watch this car go around the track here, the middle to low groove is going to be where you want to be. Plant the car low and then drive it out like pretty much every 1.5 mile over in the 2000s, 2010 range. Nothing too convoluted, not many two lines. You'll see some cars will go a little bit higher, but during qualifying, you're going to want to pinch that low side and get the drive off the best you can. Byron Jones going to come off a 4 here, get the good run, as he's going to cut the dog leg to his heart's content, and it's going to be the torch pairing set time of a 31.11. It will now be followed up by Tommy Withers, who's going to have to try to beat a 31.11 that Byron Jones has officially set. So Withers coming across the line now as he finished his one flying lap, and that will take pole position away from Byron Jones. So now the time and the driver to beat will be the number 23, Tommy Withers, driving a throwback-ish scheme to, well, not even a throwback scheme, I say a scheme adjacent to Bubba Wallace in the NASCAR Cup Series. So right now, Withers and Jones, first 2 cars to make times here and setting the tone for the rest of the field. As Richard Odie is going to be the next of 2 cars to go out, included along with Monte Dodson. We'll take a quick second to talk about if you are new here in the HTL, watching HTL here tonight. The drivers only get 1 attempt at putting down a fast qualifying lap to try to make a good run at pole position. If you don't get 2 attempts, you only get 1. And it's going to have to be the magical lap if you want to take pole position. Looking in the chat right now, as Carmen does fill in that viewer at home, we are starting just with qualifying, and that is what we're currently watching right now, riding on board with the 78 of Richard Odie, who's now through 1 and 2 right now. And Chicagoland was a very interesting track. It was a very fun track to drive in the NASCAR heat games, along with pretty much every other NASCAR game. Shame it's not on the calendar. Its successor in the Chicago Street Course has lived up to the magic that Chicagoland had for in spades. Odie coming down here, going to cut the dog leg as well, like probably every driver will do tonight. And coming across the line, it's going to be good enough for P3 with a 31.24, a little bit of ways away. Now here's DeMonte Dodson, the rookie, has run the American Airlines scheme throughout most of the races and is going to try to put that thing on pole position, coming across the line. And it's going to be good enough for P2 for Dodson, putting him on the front row, at least for now. Next 2 cars out, Bailey Thompson in the number 27, running another mobile-esque game sponsor here. It looks like it's Grandscapers this time by. So obviously Bailey loves her mobile games, and she will be rocking that on the hood of that number 27, ditching the usual Menards Monster Energy sponsor for this beautiful red, white, and teal blue machine. Honestly, the teal kind of matches the HTL teal that you'll see on the ticker there, which is another thing to bring up as well, as the 29 Alpha Denny's on the track as well. Drivers on the left side of the screen right there, they're in a dark blue. They are not in playoff contention, but if they are in a light teal blue, they are currently in contention to try to fight for a championship and try to punch their ticket to Fontana in just a couple of weeks. So with Selena Thompson right now on the backstretch of her 1 and only lap, gonna have to put down a good time. She's had good runs here on these ovals week in and week out. Could be a sneaky threat to put this on pole position here if she can get the good run. Going wide, has to avoid scraping the wall. That could cost her a little time here. As she comes across the line, it's going to be good enough for P4 for the number 27 for Bailey, as she will have to hope that time can hold. Well, here's Alfred Denny One of the round of 16 drivers had an exit after Kentucky a couple weeks ago. Now just trying to finish the season on a high note here as he comes down, cutting the drive. Actually not going to cut the dog leg as aggressively as some other drivers. And he will put that effort to a P3 for Alfred Denny, a 31.08 for his troubles. So 6 cars have already elected to qualify. Qualifying will go quite successfully quick here as the next 2 cars already firing off. The 71 of Caleb Carter has filled in a lot of late in a lot of different rides. Tonight is no different. They are filling in for Alyssa Pelletier Sharp in that number 71 machine. And usually piloted by Sharp, now Caleb Carter will be driving that machine to try to keep the great success that Sharp has found in said machine. Other car on the track will be Shad Swatsworth. First Arrowhead racing car will also be the other one to put down a lap in this parade of qualifying. So as Caleb Carter going to warm up using the high line here, trying to get a good run here to set up for a run, using your 3 and 4 is what's going to be beneficial to give yourself the best chance to put down a flying lap here. Really going strong and getting that best time, because if you make a mistake on your out lap, hit the wall, or even don't go as fast, that could be the difference between getting pole position or starting maybe outside the top 10 or even outside the top 20 if you really make a bungle of it. Carter right now looking at her splits. It's looking okay at the moment, trending at least in the right direction. Usually about the average. Right now we're seeing cars in the top 6 here. So right now Carter going to come across the line here and is going to slot down P7 though. So second sector really was not up to snuff. And now here's Shad Swatsworth complaining on the radio that he got a black flag. Possibly, so we'll see if this time is allowed or not as he comes down across the line right now. It did not count, so it looks like the black flag he got from iRacing is not going to allow this lap to count. So Swatsworth, even though he did have a purple sector too, could have been a pole position, Swatsworth's time will not be allowed, and he will have to start in the back. We zoom in on the next 2 cars on track. You can see it's a very crowded pit lane here. Austin Mongold is going to be the next car in line to head on the track. Dr. Pepperman has found a great home at Ascent Racing and has rewarded him in great spades with some good drives. Looking to try to get a good run here. And the other car behind is going to be the 4 of Zachary Apperson, who was bounced in the owner's standings a couple weeks ago, just trying to help out his team to make a good run. So it looks like we're seeing what still was Swatsworth as race control's trying to figure out what happened to Swatsworth. So that's why we're kind of delayed right now. So we'll see what happens in a second. Actually, it looks like Swatsworth's going to get a second attempt here. So Swatsworth going to get a mulligan here per se and is going to head back on the track here. So Swatsworth, second attempt. Hopefully he does not make a mistake on this one, as iRacing did kind of irregularly award him a penalty there. He's now going to have to try to capitalize and put down a good time. The other car on the track will now be the 91 Boston Mongold, so slightly changing up the queue, but it's going to be seeing how it plays out. So Swatsworth using the second opportunity, had a pole run last time by. We'll see if he can keep that momentum going as he'll now come off 3 and 4, try to put down a great flying lap. So Swatsworth now starting his lap now. Pitching that bottom the best he can. Sector 3 and 4 was his strongest run out of this lap here. Pretty good through 1 and 2. And actually rewarding that trouble. That is a purple sector 1 and 2. So right now it's trending good. Second sector is going to have to be the money one here. Cuts the dog leg. Can he bump up to a 31.05 across the line? And that will be good enough for the Arrowhead car to take pole position. He will now be provisional pole with a 30.97, which is the rest of the drivers will have to beat. Speaking of the driver for trying to beat that, Austin Mongold going to come across the line. And that's going to be good enough for P6 for the Dr. Pepperman. We'll put him currently provisionally inside the top 10. So now that qualifying kind of got a little bit bunched up because of that. Queues have switched slightly. So Zachary Apperson will be one of 2 cars to hit the track here. See in a second who the other one's going to be. It's going to be the 57 of Lily Frazier will be the other one. So Apperson, Frazier next in queue here. Taking a look in the chat while we watch Apperson and team owner right now, Blake in the chat. talking about people miss him. We do miss you, Blake. We'll hopefully see you back on the track here before season ends. Hope all is well in your neck of the woods. As Apperson trying to impress the team boss here, try to put down a great flying lap in that number 4 machine. Not really pinching the bottom like we saw Swatsworth do, though. Really was keeping it middle groove here, trying to drift up here. So we'll see if that has any effect on this lap. Really avoiding the bottom here, coming up, almost hitting the wall. That reminds me of the lap we saw from Thompson and Carter. Coming across the line, and well, I do not know ball. Apperson almost takes pole position. Dead heat, missed it by about a 10th. And that is going to be a good run by Apperson. Front row lockout at the moment. And now Lily Frazier trying to best that in that 5-hour energy machine. Coming across the line. And looks like the lap did not count for the 57 Lily Frazier, so the energy of Clint Boyer, obviously a Kansas native, kind of similar scheme to that number 15 he drove iconically for, not going to provide any luck for Frazier. Next up, Dean Clavitt, the next car on track, the Canadian. And looks at the 00 Pacey Wygen will be the other, so first playoff driver after Clavitt here will set a time, but Dean Clavitt obviously made the playoffs, had a good run, but obviously maybe not up to his standards per se. Again, another driver just trying to have a good finish to the year here, maybe try to find victory lane here. Came close at Atlanta earlier this year and has had some good runs. We'll see what that number 90 can do here in the snap-on machine. Reaching the bottom, going low, drifting up, similar to what we saw Swansworth doing, so kind of how I predicted a bit earlier, that middle of the high groove is where you want to put that car to try to get that run. He's doing that in spades right now. Lap is trending in the right direction. See how it holds up as he comes to the tri-oval. Cross the line. We only good enough for P9 though, so not the greatest run, but still at least looked good on paper, but did not hold the form. And here's Pacey Wygen, first of the 8 playoff drivers to put down a time, trying to rebound after Watkins Glen was a nightmare last week. Coming across the line, and that will be pole position. So Wygen will take pole position away from Swatsworth and is now provisionally P1. But with a bunch of strong drivers behind, that is subject to change. And we'll see if this driver, Josh Arnold, the next driver, and one of the other drivers in the playoffs right now in the final 8, will try to get a good run here. Other car will be the 3 of Caitlin Height. So 2 playoff drivers in succession firing off here. Arnold and Height had tales of different Watkins Glens. Arnold was consistently about top 10 machine, finished out okay, but ended up having some damage. Caitlin Height got in a major accident late, went a couple laps down, and had to try to recover to the best of her ability. So Arnold, coming across the travel right now, needs a good run here, considering the fact he's 31 out of the cut line coming into tonight. He needs to put himself in a spot and at least get good stage points, or even can find that elusive victory. Down the long back stretch right now, hugging the wall. And now shoots it off in the 3 and 4. Purple sector 1 though, so this could be a blistering lap for this number 2 here. Comes down, cuts the dog leg. Where will he slot his number 2 machine? And it will be pole position for Josh Arnold. That lap trended well, but I think we have a challenge here in a second. Caitlin Height also set a purple sector 1 a little bit faster than Josh Arnold's. Can the NordVPN machine steal it from Arnold? Coming across the line, and she can, a little bit faster by not a country mile, but at least a healthy distance. The 3 puts herself at the top of the table. Now it's Caitlin Height, provisional pole, Josh Arnold second. But all 3 playoff drivers have occupied top 3 spots here in qualifying at the moment. Elias Flores, next car of 2 to go on the track. Ascent Racing's Flores has been consistently at these races, trying to keep that good run going here to try to put themselves in a spot where they can maybe get a top 10, even a top 5, maybe even find a victory here. Flores fires off to start their qualifying lap, flanked by Season 2 champion Zachary Meredith, who will follow in the rear when Flores finishes their lap. Flores comes across right now and starts their flying lap. Gonna have to be a good time of a 30.88. Looking at the track temps and stats, from at least my perspective, it is a consistently perfect track here. This is probably the best opportunity you're going to get to get a good run. Track's not too hot. Temperatures are nice. Wind's kind of consistently holding, so there's no real major variable changes from the earlier cars to the later cars here. So unlike we see other times throughout the year, verifications can change. But as Flores comes across the line, good enough for P6. Good run for the Ascent Racing Machine. Here's Zach Meredith in that 3 and 4 right now. And he put down a lap to take it away from Caitlin Height. Across the line. And it looks like only good enough for P8. So they both will split Tommy Withers, with Flores going faster, Meredith going slower. But both still in the top 10. That'll take us on nicely to Callie Height back in her number 8 machine here. Obviously, that was usually been piloted by David Smil Jr. the past couple weeks. But it seems like Callie's got her rig and everything else working together, and she's back to take her car, presumably for the end of the season here. But obviously, Smil did some great job piloting that machine in her absence, and Callie going to try to keep that run going. Obviously, she got a top 5 last week, which is probably one of her better runs. And a little blink there for a second, but it's all salad out here. So trying to best one of her better finishes she's had in HTL. Other car on the track was the 9 of Eli Sasek as well for Ascent Racing. So Height and Sasek both going to be on runs here. More blanking from Height, though, which is never a good sign this early on in the session. So that could be something that we'll have to keep an eye on during the main race. As it continues to happen, she may be told to drift to the back or even park it if it consistently holds on. You can't race with someone if you don't know where they are. 8 going to come across the line right now. It's going to be only good enough for P14. And she'll slot just ahead of Dean Clavitt. Here's Eli Sasek for Ascent. Similar blue he runs, but looks like there's a tint of green around some of the sides here as he comes across the line, almost tealish. As he puts down a lap, and that'll be good enough for P7, so just behind his Ascent Racing teammate of Elias Flores. Qualifying going by quickly here, only a handful of cars left. First one on the track will be the 94 of Bobby Blowers. If you can take your mind back to last week at Watkins Glen, tried the alt strategy, was in a big duel per se with Hunter Peach, Josh Gaiman, and a handful of the drivers coming to the finish there. Blowers ended up getting the worst of it in that encounter. But we'll see what happens here. Other car will be the 12 of Dustin Hall. Will be out on the track as well. So as Blowers comes down through the dogleg here to start his flying lap. Blowers, an interesting case to say the least. It's not a permanent home at the 94 here, which is great to see, but he was a super sub early in the year, and this is the kind of the tracks he thrives at. These 1.5-mile oval tracks seem to be in his bread and butter here. So this could be an interesting lap to keep an eye on for him. And right now, purple sector 1 for Bobby Blowers, or I should say 1 and 2, as now he'll have on trace right now to challenge Caitlin Height's best time here of a 30.87. So can Blowers steal it from the 3? Coming across the line. And it's not going to be good enough. Dead heat almost. You can see it right there on the timing and scoring board. A virtual tie. Iverson has bringing out to the extra zeros and gives it to Height. So Height still pole position. Dustin Hall up next. Another playoff driver coming across the line right now. Good enough for P3. So Hall will bump Arnold out onto the outside of row 2 here instead of the inside. We'll now have to put down a good time here. But Hall, great drive here. Another driver that needs a good run here to try to get himself in the top 4. Next car on track, the 33, Josh Gaiman, was dealing with some slight issues here early on in qualifying, maybe some connectivity. We'll see if it can hold out. Other car will be the number 97, Martin Roberg, will also be on the track here to put down the time. Gaiman, another driver that's very strong at qualifying here, known for putting down good times. He now starts his flying lap. Running a middle kind of groove here. We've seen Height do that. Blowers do that. Oh, he hits the wall, though. And that is not what the 33 at Gaiman wanted to see, as that is qualifying done for Gaiman. That pretty much ensures he'll be starting to the back. And he's going to have a lot of work to do. And Roberg almost followed him into the same wall there, but Roberg avoids the catastrophe there and will now be ready to put down a flying lap of his own. Obviously on his flying lap right now, coming through 3 and 4, hugging that bottom, drifting out, almost flirting with the wall again, but sometimes you got to be on that edge to put down a flyer. Coming across the line, and it'll be good enough for P18, so not the best lap. Maybe had to lift it just a tiny bit to avoid hitting the wall, and that showed on that lap there. So Roberg, P18. Much near the end of qualifying here. Hunter Peach up next. Obviously finished P3 last week, so looking at my math board here, it should be Peach, Zier, and Sosi, the last 3 cars to go here, as that is their right for finishing good last week at Watkins Glen. Hunter Peach running the Sour Patch Kids machine, but if you take a glimpse at the sides here, he's getting in the Halloween spirit early here. As you can see, the Sour Patch Kids have little mummies on them, so getting ready for the Halloween, which is about months away here, so getting in the fall spirit here, as now he sets his flying lap here. As you can see, Kristina actually putting the camera on some good shots here to show it off. And now drifting low here, pinching the bottom. We'll zoom on by, trending his times. Right now on the pace he needs to be around top 5, top 10 machines, so he's trending rightward to get a top 10, maybe even a top 5. He's going to have to find that next gear if he wants to get that pole position. Coming down through the dogleg, going to cut it as aggressively as he dares. Cross the line. It's been only good enough for P9. So in the top 10 at the moment, but one driver ready to bump out is Lilac Zier, who's had a playoff resurgence here. She's really found this form as the playoffs have started up her stepping stone. Coming across the line, Zier goes. And it's going to be good enough for P10. So right now, Zier, last driver in the top 10, Hunter Peach at the moment, with 1 car left, is provisionally safe to stay in the top 10. Right now, all eyes on this man, Josh Sosi. Won last week, Watkins Glen. He has got his tickets punched for the Final 4 in a couple weeks. Defending champion as well. Now, if he's going to Fontana, he is the odds favorite right now to win the championship, as Lady Liberty has been a strong team throughout this year. His next 2 rounds, obviously, will be warm-up for this number 81 machine, as he doesn't want to lose his momentum here. Starting his flying lap now. Sosi also had the advantage of having the best points cushion going into Watkins Glen after the points got reset after the round of 16 round to 8. Now locked in. All he has to do is make the next 2 rounds, and he will be fighting for a championship in a couple weeks' time. Sector 1 at the moment trending good. Looking at his times, it looks like it's ahead of Wygant Sector 1. This could be a delicious lap here, coming off of 3 and 4. Can he bump his teammate off provisional pole? He cannot. P3 for the 81 machine. Joshua Sosi not going to get on the front row, but still a good qualifying run for that number 81 machine. Looking at the rest of the list here, no other cars will hit the track, meaning Caitlin Height will take pole position here with Bobby Blowers flanking her on the outside. So Height trying to join her teammate into the playoffs in the next round here by locking her way in. We'll see what she can do, but she has the best chance by starting on pole position. That will do it for qualifying here, as we will now move on to warm-up. And I think it's time to let my co-commentator, Carmen Sienna, join on in and go over what illumes these drivers and where the points are coming up here.
Thank you, Kevin. Obviously, a fantastic job in qualifying for Caitlin Height. Kevin gets to finally go and grab something to drink and reset for the race here. 28 cars here in Chicagoland. We saw qualifying for just about everybody. 24 set lap times. A lot to look forward to, though. Josh Gaiman, a very mistimed error. He'll start 25th on the grid after being right on the cut line to make the Final 4. Don't want to throw away everything he earned at Watkins Glen just a week ago. Caitlin Height pole position. She needs a good result. She's outside the cut line right now going into this race. So we see some of the drivers leaving pit lane. Here's the points as they run. Josh Sosi, he's marked in yellow because he won last time out in Watkins Glen. He still needs to start both tonight and Bristol next week to be locked in, but he's got a good chance to do that. He's not really missed a race this season. Odds are he's going to make it pretty safely. It's where the cut line is after Sosi, though. Wygant up by just 3 points over, obviously, Josh Gaiman, who's in that mix. Caitlin Height's in that mix as well. Lilac Zier's in that mix. It is dog-eat-dog world right now, and you see that I guess the order's not really correct there. Lilac Zier sitting second, Josh Gaiman in third, and Hunter Peach in fourth. We'll have to figure out why it's so lopsided there. But Hunter Peach in fourth with 4,054 points. Pacey Wygant is level with him, but doesn't have the results in the playoffs to have that tiebreaker. So he needs a good result. He's qualified sixth tonight, which isn't bad. He's qualified ahead of Hunter Peach. Caitlin Height, we talked about her. She is 3 points behind Wygant and Peach. Pole position doesn't give her any points, but it gives her the chance to go out and try to get a race win. This racetrack fits her pretty well. She'll try to capitalize on that here tonight. Then you look a little bit further down. Obviously, Dustin Hall needs a little bit more luck. Qualified fourth, but he's one of the furthest ones out. Josh Arnold, he's almost in must-win territory at this point. The 2-car qualified fifth. He qualifies well a lot. He just doesn't seem to have the race finishes put together there. Just trying to punch up and do what you can here at really the last big controllable racetrack going in. Because Bristol next week, it is the last great Coliseum, but it is where things can get rough in a hurry. It's where the elbows come out in style. This is a race where you can choose your lines. Really, it's in the driver's hands more than any other racetrack outside of Fontana in 2 weeks. Very interesting, though, how it's going to play out, though. Lilac Zier has the best hand up of non-winning drivers. She's going to need it right now. She's starting 11th. She's starting in row 6. We'll go over the starting grid as we get closer to race time. We see some of the drivers. There's Caitlin Height, the 3-car, that NordVPN machine, rolling through 3 and 4. Everyone just kind of getting up to speed. Final chance to dial everything in. What did you learn in qualifying that you didn't enjoy? What was it in practice? Trying to get that dialed in if you were in race practice mode. Everyone just trying to get those last adjustments, because if you're doing things like adjusting your brake calipers or your steering pinion, 2 very sensitive elements in these next-gen machines, and you get it wrong, you can't fix it on pit lane. You don't have a chance to do anything about it. You're kind of just stuck with it. So everyone needs to make sure they get it right here. Right now it looks like, as everyone looks through here, let's see if we can get through the warm-up session. Katie Height is 7th fastest at the moment in warm-up here. Warm-up obviously doesn't mean a whole ton with everyone doing pit lane practice. That's another big thing going into this pit lane practice. We've seen pit stops be the make or break for a lot of drivers this season. This track's no different. Progressive banking, but it's very deceptive, very bumpy. As you come down off that banking, you see just like what Austin Mongol was doing right there. You see that bump. It's very easy if you're not paying attention to get loose and spin, either cause a caution or go a lap down in a hurry. So everyone practicing that and doing their job there. Pacey Wygant, another one that's been doing nothing but pit stop entry practices, because he's had the wrong side of those pit entries more than once. So everyone trying to get everything put together here ahead of the race. 10 seconds left to go. We'll go through the starting grid and warming up for this race. 28 cars. Still a pretty hefty field. A lot of chances for drivers to play spoilers tonight. 166 laps here in Chicagoland. And while we're going through this, I get the chance to nerd out here about Chicagoland, located just outside of Chicago, Metro Chicago, by about 35 miles. 1.5 mile racetrack. It's a D-shaped oval, one of the classic ones that's come since the start of the 21st century, alongside that of Kansas, alongside that of Kentucky. And obviously the racing we've seen across those racetracks, we'll be expecting the same thing here tonight. The car is getting ready to get up to speed here with their formation laps. We'll start with the front row. Caitlin Height, pole position once again, the winningest driver in HTL history, looking to add one more at a very critical time. Tough competition alongside her, though. Bobby Blowers in the 94, trying to play the ultimate spoiler. 2 playoff drivers right behind her, Josh Susie, Dustin Hall. Hall needs this race a little bit more than Susie. Susie's already locked in, but bonus points definitely do not hurt going into Fontana if Susie can grab them. Row 3, Josh Arnold, last of the 8 drivers trying to make it to the round of 4, the final 4. He's on the inside in row 3 alongside Pacey Wygant, the defending Truck Series champion from last season. Chad Swatsworth and Zach Apperson sit in row 4. Good qualifying effort for the 4-car in the top 10 and in the Owners' Championship still.
Hang on,
Apperson trying to keep that car running in the points. Row 5, Elias Flores. He gets another top 10 start alongside Hunter Peach, who right now is on the right side of the top 4. Needs to stay that way through the night. Lilac Zier, second place in points, coming in alongside Eli Sasek, but outside the top 10. Easy for things to go wrong for the 50 car here tonight. Tommy Withers in the 23 car inside row 7 alongside Zach Meredith, the season 3 champion 2 seasons ago, now having to watch as a new champion gets crowded over the next 3 weeks. DeMonte Dotson and Alfred Denny, teammates for Lady Liberty and Valfreya Motorsports. They sit in row number 8. Moving down the rest of the order, we've got row 9 of Byron Jones and Austin Mongold. That's 17th and 18th on the grid. Bailey Thompson and Callie Height back in her number 8 machine in 20th. Martin Roberg, after a very interesting race at Watkins Glen a week ago, will have to start from the back of the field, 21st alongside Dean Clavitt in row 11. Row 12, looking further down the order, Richard Odie in that 12th row, Caleb Carter in the 24th position. These are the last of the qualified cars that set times. The following 2 rows will not have time set. Josh Gaiman, his incident in qualifying sets him at the back of the field at the worst possible moment for him. He's alongside Lily Frazier in row 13. In the final row of the field, did not set lap times either. Kevin Gibney Jr. and Gary Donaldson will round out this 28-car field. As you get ready to come to the start finish line, the lights will go out on that Ford Mustang pace car. We will get ready for lights out. 166 laps. It's 3 races to go. Tonight, Bristol next Monday, Fontana in mid-October to end the season off, championship week. Hope you're ready for a lot of Fontana that week, because we're going to have Champ Car on Wednesday that week. Obviously, we have the Truck Series just before that out Fontana. It's going to be a lot of racing in California. For everyone tuning in here on ABN, I'm Carmen Sienna. Alongside me, he'll be joining us here for the green flag, Kevin Young. We let him go get a drink and refresh after carrying us through qualifying and through the races the last couple weeks. Behind the camera, Kristina Ryan. Welcome everyone to ABN Esports coverage of the HTL Cup Series. The race to the championship is on. It's on Sundays for the Winstel Cup Series. It's on here on Mondays as well for the HTL Cup Series. Really good look there. Katie's main competitor at the start of this race. Progressive banking around this 1.5 mile racetrack, one of the first tracks in the country to have it. And you're going to bet all 28 cars will lean on it here in Chicagoland. Joliet, Illinois plays host to the 21st race of the HTL Cup Series. The pace car is in. The green flag flies. The Chicago 350 is underway. We're racing in Chicagoland. They complete the first lap, completely safe. All 28 cars still rolling, but 3 wide further down the order as they exited turn 4. A driver trying to move forward a little bit already as that 00 Pacey Wygent already comfortable on that outside cushion, Kevin.
Yeah, right there on that outside cushion, running that high groove. Bob was very confident there as he wants to keep that car on the high side. We'll have to make sure as you do go the long way around, do burn the tire a bit more. Wygent as well, trying to make that high line his home here. As he's trying to pioneer that high line and try to make moves where other drivers aren't willing to go. Right now, Height, Bauer, Sosa, your top 3 still at the moment, but looks like Hall getting a tiny bit antsy there in 4th. Maybe trying to find a way around Sosa and look at Wygent. He wants to get there quickly and try to make that high line work the best he can, side by side with Dustin Hall here, and will get the spot done. So Wygent already have another spot and now trying to capitalize on Josh Sosi. So Wygent, a very strong driver to keep an eye on here and could definitely be a threat. But all eyes are still on Caitlin Height here as she is controlling the field and doing what she needs to do on that low side right now. She's making those lines work quite nicely.
It's very important to point out here the inside lane where you see most of the field sitting. That's the safe lane to protect the tires. Wygent trying to get that track position early. You see Wygent up there. Dustin Hall's up there. Aberson moves to the inside lane after starting on the outside lane. He's moved down to start trying to shield those tires a little bit. Wygent already battling, trying to get to the quarter panel of Caitlin Height. Going to use those right side tires a little bit more, running on board with them in this 00 machine. trying to get to the race lead. There's no bonus points for leading a lap. It's all about stage points. It's all about getting those playoff points to try to get into the round of 12. Wygant knows he's on the wrong side of the cut line right now, so every stage point counts, especially knowing that one of the people you're contending with right now, Hunter Beach, not far behind. He's already up to third place as they go side by side for the race lead. Hunter Beach up near the wall, obviously riding aboard looking at Caitlin Height, but you have to keep an eye on that rear view mirror for Hunter Peach. There he is, right there around Dustin Hall. They are 3 wide behind. Dustin Hall in the middle for a brief moment before the 9 assassin gave him reprieve. But it is frantic early on. Everyone on a different strategy call. It's going to be an absolutely wild race. Stages, I know some people usually ask for the stages when we're going live here. We'll go ahead and bring it up here just to make sure everything's covered. Stage breaks. Lap 45 and lap 90, so we've got a long way to get to the end of stage 1. A lot of racing to go. Caitlin Height knows that. She's shielding those tires. She's dropped 3 spots. Wygant leads, but he's got to try to stay up there, and he's got a very hard charging number 20 of Hunter Peach. Still on that outside lane, running those Goodyear Eagles, but trying to get to the front. These two having a battle, because again, the cutoff line is between those 2 cars, 1 and 2 right now.
Yeah, that is the advantage, and that's why they're fighting hard here. Like I've said last week, Watkins Glen, I'll probably say next week at Bristol too. Stage points is what matters the most here, and it can make a hole a lot easier to dig out of or add to if you can get those points here. Right now here with Elias Flores currently sitting in 12th position. As you can see right there, those last 2 cars right now, Meredith and Arnold, are only fighting for the last spot inside the top 10 at the moment. Cars fanning in. You can see, I'm not shocked as we were kind of watching Peach on that high side, Wygant on that high side. They are the drivers that love that high groove, so it does not shock me in the slightest that they were on the attack early, using that high side to their advantage. Want to point out, look for the field here as well, as we still see Flores battling side by side with Byron Jones. Alfred Denny just set the fastest lap of the race in P17, which is an interesting note to bring of him right now. And right behind him, 2 spots left, Josh Gaiman already up 6 spots from where he started this race after his tremendous qualifying. So he's trending in the right direction. With this stage being 45 laps long, it does give him plenty of time to try to make that work in game, and knowing to get his tires stronger and try all strategies, this could play in the 33's hands for what he needs to do, as we're now running over here with Tommy Withers, as he is just trying to hang on and get a good run here in that number 23 machine.
Yeah, very important, as everyone should feel comfortable here. This is a racetrack that I think a lot of drivers feel comfortable at all the time. It's not as complex as Kentucky, right? With Kentucky being a little bit flatter, Kentucky being not symmetrical between the corners. Chicagoland is symmetrical. You cut it in half, like right down the start-finish line. You cut it in half. It's a symmetrical racetrack. The uniqueness of this racetrack is that turn 2 is not as vicious as it is at other tracks like Kansas or Kentucky, because the track is still falling away from you. It's rotating. It's a constantly turning track. You're never running completely straight on this racetrack. And we'll see if we can get a good look at that here riding on board. I believe this is with...
This is Josh Arnold.
So Josh Arnold, that is the 8th place driver in the points in the 2 car. And you see, just running a little bit with him, that you're always turning through the back straightaway, because it's not an actual back straightaway. It's always almost like a second dog leg here. So that's a different challenge, but it makes turn 2 easier. It's a lot easier to be aggressive in the first 2 corners of the racetrack than it is at a track like Kansas here. So drivers taking advantage of that in the outside lane, a lot friendlier to the likes of Wygant and Peach, who once again find themselves having to use that lane to stay in the top 3.
Yeah, got to use those lines, make the car as wide as you need to do. And obviously, again, Sosi already having that win. He's just here for the pride of it. But we were kind of talking about it, I think you, me, Carmen, or maybe it was me and Kristina. Regardless, we were talking about how you win that race, you kind of can cruise a little bit, but you don't want to cruise too much, because if you kind of take your foot off the gas, get yourself out of that momentum, get yourself out of that swing. Even though, true, Fontana is different than both Chicagoland and Bristol, it's hard to get momentum back. Once you lose it, you don't want to squander it. So Sosa not going to take any prisoners. He's going to be just as strong as he needs to be these next 2 weeks to ensure he's in peak condition for Fontana to try to be the first HTL driver to win back-to-back Cup Series champions. Blowers and Sasek almost collide there, going 3 wide right on the low side of Sosi. Blowers will get clear those up. A 6 he will go. it just shows it is still all race up here as cars are not taking any prisoners. No one's giving an inch here as tires fall off, though, for the cars that really ran that high side, really pushed high. They're going to sink like a stone, while cars a little bit further up the road that maybe are saving the rubbers. The cars that we've seen like the Lilac Sears of the world, Josh
Katie Height, yeah.
Katie Height, that know how to save their tires. This is where they will thrive in these environments. So it's not a battle, it's a war. And these cars that know how to get to the end of this will be ones to watch. And we see the end of the stage on 45. As you can see, keeping an eye on second here. Wygent still using that high side right now. Hall is now over about 2 tenths away from Wygent as Wygent's under pressure here from both Peach and Spotsworth.
Let me throw some stats at you. Whoever is leading between laps 1 and lap 20 do not lead on lap 40 at the end of the stage. They do not lead by the end of the first stage. If the same thing goes, whoever's leading at the start of the stage doesn't win the stage in stage 2. Keep an eye on that, because right now Dustin Hall, Pacey, Wygent, Hunter Peach, they are holding the pace. They are the trendsetters right now, but these tires matter a lot. This is a longer stage than, say, what we had when we went to Atlanta, or when we went to, obviously, Watkins Glen was a little bit different. These tires will fall away quickly. This is an old service. This track was built, it was inaugurated in 2001. It has not been repaved since. This is a relatively modern skin of Chicagoland. It is abrasive. It wears the tires down. Is it as bad as a place, say, like Bristol? No, it's not. But of the 1.5-mile tracks on the calendar, this is the most abrasive of them. And that means a lot, because the outside lane where the 12, the 00, and the 20 have been using as a crutch, they won't be able to use that to the same effect here later on in this run. Katie Height still sitting in 5th. She's drifted up the racetrack a little bit, trying to just keep pace. She's been passed by Swatsworth, trying to stay ahead of Blowers there. But both Height and Blowers are saving their tires right now. They're planning a big surge in the final 15 laps of this stage. Keep an eye on them, because these top 3, top 4 in front of them, burning the blisters off these Goodyear Eagles. It's going to be a lot of fun, because we're going to see this again in stage 2 and even more in stage 3. The way we're seeing this racing right now, this could be a very classic finish where we see a side-by-side drag race out of turn 4. Can't wait for it, and just who's going to be a part of it. Right now, statistics say it's not going to be one of the top 3.
I'll counteract that with a point here. As we've seen at tracks where we think that tires will fall off as much as they do, and drivers running the high side should be punished. I'm riding Hunter Peach bucking that trend as he battles right now to try to take the lead away from Dustin Hall here, but he's been a driver that's bucked those trends. He was dominant at Darlington at North Wilkesboro, dominant at another track I just can't think of the top of my head here right now, but he's been kind of that high side pioneer that has made it work. And it's weird in the sense, and obviously those tracks a little bit different in comparison with the abrasives, not as abrasive, different lines, other factors that can play in factor. But he's always kind of bucked those trends. And when we talked to him last week, he's someone that feels like he's underrated coming into these playoffs. He feels like he's being slept on. He feels like he's a bigger threat than people are giving him credit to. And right now, he's leading this race, and he's been a threat at these tracks. True, he only has 1 win to his credit, but he's someone that I don't think can be really outclassed. And honestly, as he's been kind of a trend breaker here, I think he's got a chance to do this right now as Pace and Wygent run the tow here. But if these cars continue to fight side by side, though, this is what the driver is saving the tire. Feel confident as Hall and Wygent almost come to touching there, as neither playoff driver giving an inch, but both need to make sure they can get some stage points here and not wreck out on lap 21.
Yeah, all the top 3 need these stage points a little bit more desperately. Dustin Hall needs a little bit more than Wygent and Peach to make it into the round of 4. But all 3 in a good spot right now. You just can't afford to junk the cars, because you don't have any fresh pairs. If you're done, then it makes Bristol must win, especially this early on. Something of note here that I noticed: Katie Height, one of the only drivers in the top 10, using the apron at points here in the first 21 laps. She used it a couple laps in a row, just a couple laps ago, lap 18, lap 19, she dropped down to the apron. She's the only driver in the top 15 that has done so back-to-back laps. Everyone's seemingly safe as we have a caution on the racetrack.
Nick Reck and Josh Gaiman's involved. That is implications. No. Gaiman, Roberg, you'll see the 33 stopped right there. And that is big news, and that car looks torn up a little bit. It looks still drivable. Nothing looks broke, but obviously that front end caved in. It makes you wonder the damage. And taking a hint, I think it may have been a 3-wide situation that went bad. So we're going to look at the replay
looks like
here.
That's Withers, the 23 just ahead. Looks like that is the 97. It is the 97.
Rover. It's going to be just a little ahead here. Keep an eye on Sassy.
Yeah. Oh no, Sent teammates working at it once again. Oh, that is
Denny.
the
That's Alpha Denny.
Oh no, it's teammates all over the place. It's Sent and Lady Liberty, and
Mongol.
huge contact there from Mongol, who tried checking up, and so 3 Ascent cars and 2 Valfreya cars, all involved in this. That is violating Rule 1 in all shapes and forms. Don't wreck your teammate and don't pile drive your teammate. Rule 1 and Rule 1A. And Mongol locked it up. He tried to avoid it. He just locked it up and tagged the wall. You can see just that reaction there from Mongol. He just, a lot of rearward brake. On board with Gaiman, watching this 3-wide in front of him.
Yeah, watch
Withers.
Withers.
Affected his championship ambitions. Withers drifts up. Denny almost saves it, but then his teammate's there. I mean, to Denny's case, he did save it.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I'll throw an out point here. The rule is obviously don't wreck your teammate, but at the end of the day, the 2 teammates didn't like each other. It wasn't like an A-side car ran into an A-side car. It was Withers drifting up right into a Valfreya machine, into an A-side machine, and then eventually it took out more Alfreya and Valfreya machines. So rules technically weren't broken, but they were heavily destroyed as Roberg almost basically destroyed the camera.
That's a broken camera for us.
Yeah, that's going to be a bill.
I have enough bills, thank you.
Yeah,
running board from them in the air, and you see, I don't even think the contact's that bad. It's a squeezing, and we talk about a really good example from this chopper camera, this blimp cam that we have, of just how that curvature works. Unfortunately, a part of the racetrack, the curving starts coming back down towards the racetrack. There, you start having the track sort of pinch you back into the corner, and so everyone using more room until that room runs out. And for Withers, I don't know if he was quite aware of how much space he had on the outside lane there. They all just immediately freeze frame Cali height. That was close.
That was
arguably a little bit dangerous. They're not lifting as much as she needed to, but no contact, so I don't think that's going to be investigated. But if she had been a part of that, then that would have been, I think, slam dunk on the 8 car, which would have not been fortunate.
Yeah. Right now, Gaiman's still stationary on pit lane right now, and that is going to be a lap down for him, along with Austin Mongol. Now, obviously, Mongol, that lick, it's going to be a miracle if he comes back. There he goes, though. So, Mongol,
well, I think for Mongol, you look at where Gaiman's car is at, though. He's got to repair radiator damage, whereas Mongol is just rolling out, trying to avoid losing more time on the racetrack. Meanwhile, out on the racetrack, it is double file. We are 1 lap to green. So we'll go green for the first restart of this race. Again, remember, stage braking. You see Kristina doing a really good job from behind the teleprompter, the telestrator, showing just how much steering angle Austin Mongol's putting into that number 91 machine. Remember that the first stage ends on lap 45, and this brings everyone together. Almost no takers on pit lane during that first caution. So this will be a very interesting sprint race to the end of the stage. Going to be a lot of fun. Top 5 is Flowers Hall, Peach, Klavich, Swatsworth, front of the field, and away we go.
Well, surprisingly, you can see the last lap since pitted thing here. Obviously, lap 2. It's kind of interesting as, again, most cars did at least elect to come in, at least from our information box.
Yeah, I misspoke there. I was like, everyone came in, and I was like, some people didn't come in.
Yeah.
No, everyone came down pit lane, which makes sense because it gets you 20 laps to the stage, easy on the tires, and that means that we're going to see a sprint race there. And you see that immediately Hunter Peach, using the full racetrack, went all the way down to the grass on the apron to try to get around Bobby Flowers there, the number 20 and the number 94, battling side by side. Peach gets the advantage there and gets clear by a wide margin. Just driving to the corner, abusing those Goodyear tires because he's got to get back to the front of the field. Dustin Hall where he needs to be, though, if he wants to try to gain some inroads on the top 4.
And actually,
he can't get around him, join him.
To interject real fast, can we pivot real fast to Lilacs here? Because she took fuel only on her stop right now. And this shows you how 20 laps makes a difference right now. She is sinking like a stone in the ocean right now. She is down to 16th, and she is getting passed like she is standing still. So right now, it is major implications. You can see just showing you tire wear. And a little bit further up now, they are 3 wide up the road with Blowers, Dotson, Jones. As Blower just clips the wall right there. And you can see it is a race here in the mid-pack as they are fighting for the last bit of stage points. But kind of finished my point there with zero as we cut back to the action, is you need to get 4 tires on this machine for a late run. You cannot stay out and do what Braille did at Kentucky and try to make that work. 2 tires, maybe, but you need fresh on the tires in some passes.
I like what everyone's doing, though. Everyone's figuring out what works and what doesn't work now in stage 1, so you know what not to do later on in this race. Obviously, stage 3, typically a chaotic stage at HTL races. Usually a caution comes out late, and it changes things. You know what to do and what not to do if you learn that early. Some drivers on the 2 tires, not quite where they want to be, but they're not that terrible off. Obviously, they'll fall off more and more as we get closer to lap 45, but we know that no tires, no matter what, not the play. But everyone figuring out, okay, what's the strategy call we need to do late in this race? Lilac Zero learning the 2 tires at this point, no matter if it's a green, white checkered or not the play to go for there. But Zero is also second in points. She had a cushion, a pretty decent one, so she can take this hit in stage 1 and rally back for stage 2 because she's got the car to get back to the top 10. Not great to lose those points early, but you'd rather lose 10 points over losing 15 or 20 later on in this race. So not against that move by Lilac Zier. Testing the waters were a little bit warm. As we see further up the field here, I believe we're riding on board with the 000 Pacey Wygen. We're looking at the back of the 81. A lot of black and colored numbers here. Just looking backwards, it was a Hello Kitty car we're looking at. And you see Susie, a little bit of contact. Trying to defend from Wygen. Not a lot of love lost between these two either. Wygen the 00, Susie in the 81. These two battled at Fontana at the end of last season. Reminder, and it was a very physical fight with them and Shad Swatsworth. And they've battled on and off throughout the season, this season as well. Some contact here and there. Some bodywork exchanged. Josh Gaiman back out on the racetrack. He is currently in the 28th and last position, which is the worst place to be. He needs a lot of chaos to happen in stage 2 and stage 3. And you see where he's at. Once again, good use of the telestrator there. 8 laps down. That is not just out of the zone for free pass. That is in a different zip code. He is back in Watkins Glen, is how far back he's been set on this race. So he needs a lot of chaos. Unfortunately, things have settled down a little bit up front. It's still physical. Pacey Wygen still trying to charge his way forward, trying to get around Caitlin Height. But it's no longer 3 wide everywhere. It's back to being 2 wide, where this track supports 4 lanes. Don't tell them I said that, because they'll use it later on in this race. Wygen right to the bumper to the 3. As we head into turns 3 and 4, Kevin, we're beginning to see the typical trends of a Chicagoland race. Everyone using those different lanes and back to that normality. What are we seeing, and who do you think is going to have a chance to win this stage if it stays green to lap 45?
Honestly, right now, keeping an eye on the runs here, and we obviously didn't get the full might of Caitlin Height there. She may have been saving her tire here a little bit. Now, obviously, it is guns a-blazing here. You do not take prisoners here. But I still, right now, I kind of go with my spiel earlier. I think it's Hunter Beach's stage to lose here. This seems to be something that plays into his wheelhouse. And I feel, at the moment, he's got the best chance. But I also don't think we can count that 3, who's now going to be, like, basically running for the flag here. Was our pole sitter. She clearly has the times and the speeds to be able to get up there and compete for a stage victory. And you can see, looking at this top 10 here, top 6 out of 8 playoff drivers are 1 through 6 right now, with Sosi kind of getting swallowed there possibly by Bailey Thompson, Zach Meredith, not Bailey Thompson, some color though, Meredith, Jones, and Dotson all in a position. Actually, it is Bailey Thompson, and she's now on the outside right now, trying to make it work here, trying to get a principal move here as cars fight on. But the 2 cars, obviously not right now, in the playoffs are not in the top 10. One obviously is Josh Gaiman, who's 8 laps down. The other is Lilac Zier, with that call-up strategy to take no tires is now down to 21st. So that is going to be a hit in the wall for both of them. The other 6, though, at the moment, they can keep it clean and keep going in the right direction. And it's going to be a major points game for all 6 of the 8 playoff drivers inside the top 6.
This doesn't help Justin Hall as much as he hopes to, Floyd, with so many of the drivers all scoring points in the stage. It helps him gain on the likes of Lilac Zier. Doesn't really help anyone gain, though, on each other. Everyone's still kind of in the same boat. as things currently sit, Dustin Hall stays in the inside lane going through turns 1 and 2. There are less than 10 laps to go in the stage. We're on lap 38 of 166 overall. Stage 1 again ends at the end of 45. Pits close at the end of lap 43. So anyone that wants to come down pit lane and really shoot themselves in the foot need to do so before now. Peach driving side by side there. Oh, here goes Wydget! Through the middle, 3 wide, into the front of the field. Holy cow! That was insane.
Yeah,
Peach drifted up the racetrack and tagged Hall and scared the lights out of everyone but Wydget, who saw opportunity and went for it. This is a replay of it as they go down the back straightaway. And you're going to see Peach going to go for the inside lane. Sends it, sends it, sends it. Can't make it stick. Drifts up the racetrack a little bit. Scares Dustin Hall. Gets Dustin Hall off the throttle. The 00 goes through. Katie Height boxed in. Can't really make the same inroads there. But a fantastic shot by Pacey Wydget to go from 4th to 1st in 1 lap there. And now in the lead of this race, everyone's trying to chase down the 00 once again.
Dotson, yeah.
Dotson down pit lane, and so that looks like a right side contact into the wall. And we're going to see what happened here. I have a feeling that he is just, oh, he might be driven into here. Oh no, this is out of turns 3 and 4. That is Byron Jones and Zach Apperson. Oh, ooh.
Oh, a hit
That's a gnarly hit there. It looks like he gets loose and gets into Apperson, and Apperson returns to center and sends him right to the outside wall. So Apperson.
Oh, can we go back up front
for
the race
where?
Second here is Peach trying to make that high line work here again. Really trying to carve up here and try to make a run back. He obviously made that mistake, almost took Hall and himself as the cleaners. Now trying to recapitalize here, and he would get clear for second. So Peach back into the second position. Now going to go over-under, trying to go low side on the 00 Wydget. And remember, as we see the graphic flare on the screen, stage is going to end in 3 laps time when they come across the line here. So 45 is the end. Peach back up, but now Wydget going to go low, and keep an eye on that 3 machine. She's been waiting there patiently. She's ready to strike here in a second.
Like Anderson in the track trying to be wise, saying Peach didn't scare Dustin, hit him up the racetrack. Oh, he scared him because Dustin thought that he was going to be sent into the barrier. Had to definitely get out of the throttle nonetheless. Your 4 cars under a blanket. Wydget now blocking Peach's line on the upper lane, leaving Dustin Hall and Katie Height on the inside lane to try to make things happen. Peach in the wall. Pit lane is closed. 2 laps to go in the stage. And here comes Dustin Hall to the inside lane once again. Peach trying to recover, to battle back forward. He's got 3 miles to make it happen. As they go down the back straightaway. Top 5, bottom of your screen. Wydget, Hall, Peach, Height, Susie. Your top 5. Can they stay in that way, in that order? Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go in stage 1. A little bit of contact by Peach and Katie Height. That's for 3rd. Right now, it is Wydget on his own. Front of the field. Katie Height, outside lane, trying to go 2 for 1. Special tags the wall. And Dustin Hall solds on to second. But that was wild, because Katie Height, if she had made that stick, was going to be in the clear. Still trying to go for 3rd. Wydget will take the lead. He'll win stage 1. Dustin Hall second. 3rd place, Katie Height, ahead of Hunter Peach. And Josh Arnold gets top 5 honors out of all of that, ahead of Josh Susie at the line.
Yeah, and we'll take a look here at the finish there and see the cars fighting. And I was worried Hunter Peach was going to kind of match the car number namesake yesterday, I should say, with Christopher Bell, and throw away good stage points by hitting the wall late in the stage. So watch here again. Peach gets the run on Hall. Elijah's probably smiling ear to ear, watching in this mirror unfold here. You can see the 3 gets the head of steam, takes the run here as we're on the white flag off the stage. Hall covers it off, almost hits the wall there, trying to keep it lines blocked here. And you're going to see that 3 zoom it on the high side here.
That drive in the middle of the corner is insane, but just ran out of real estate. And then Susie did a really good job keeping Katie in the fight there. Gave her a really good bump draft there. It cost Susie 5th place over Arnold, because you see Arnold driving up there. Susie nowhere to go. Arnold just drives underneath him to get those extra stage points. You see at the line, which is what matters, Arnold does get that 5th spot. So 5 points for Josh Arnold, a much needed 5-point gain for the 2 car. But now we're looking here, unofficial stage points there. That's your top 10, plus 2 with Apperson and Frazier, 11th and 12th. A fantastic drive as we now see pit lane open for the end of stage 1. And the entire field come down for some fresh tires.
Yes,
a lot of fun racing.
It's going to be 4 tires. It was fun racing. A lot of cars, though. Obviously, no one's going to take a chance. You need to fill it up. Stage being just as long as the first stage. Basically, a little less because of how it shaped up. But still, it's going to be 4 tires field for everyone here. I would be shocked if anyone did anything different here as everyone's in their box. Now it's up to the virtual crews, though, to decide who can get out here and get the advantage. Wydgen, at least at the favorite at the moment, but Height's got that advantage by being #1 stall. Those cars now zoom on away here. Who will win the race off pit lane? And it's going to be close, and it is going to be Wydgen over Height, then Peach, then Hall, then Arnold for top 5. So Hall's crew really didn't get the best lunge there. He's going to lose a couple spots. Peach will gain 1, Height will gain 1. So overall, kind of a net hold in most of the field here, but Hall's crew kind of let him down there in stage 1. But there's Josh Gaiman, obviously 8 laps down, got 1 back because of the lucky dog. Actually, I think Odie may have been 1 down instead, so he won't even get the lucky dog. He'll have to take the wave around here to try to get the advantage here. And look at that repair clock too. 346 seconds he spent on pit lane to fix up that car. But 7 laps is a big ask, considering the fact that Odie is currently 1 down. Mongold's out of this race, so at least there's that positive, but even then he has to come down pit lane to get tires and fuel. But yeah, Odie currently 1 down. He needs Odie to get his lap back, and then maybe hope for some quick cautions here to try to get himself in a chance to make a run for getting back in the lead lap, but not likely.
Yeah, he's got to try as much as he can here to really sort of make some inroads again. This is a bit of the contact between Dotson and Apperson. This is on board with the 31 car here, as we say, under caution at the end of stage 1. And yeah, Dotson just gets a little loose, bounces, ricochets off the 4 car. And all the damage on the 31 car now puts him 8 laps down. So 2 of the Valfreya cars now 8 laps down, which is not where they wanted to be.
Shelf there at the end too to really add some extra damage there for the 31 and also with the 8 with some damage as well. So now right on board with the 8. You can see the speed differential. Nothing Callie really could do there. She had cars low of her, and obviously with Dodson on the high side, kind of just got put in that spot there. Looks minor though, and teammates in 2, so overall just an odd situation throughout the road. Looks like as we wait for cameras to get back here and see how it's all playing out, we should get the 1 to go this time by Wydgen. Obviously will probably take low side here, and then it will be Height outside, and then the rest of the cars will file in. But Wydgen, what the doctor ordered after Watkins Glen kind of went wrong for him after his contact with Roberg. This is the way to get things trending in the right direction. And considering the fact he was dead heated with Hunter Peach at the start of the season here. Start of this race here, he was dead even with Pacey Wydgen in the playoffs bracket along with Hunter Peach. It is good that he got those extra points. Right now, he's in the top 4. And he needs another good stage 2 to give himself that even more cushion, just in case things go south.
One lap to go until we begin stage number 2. And trouble for the 12, Dustin Hall. Power failure for the 12 car.
Oh.
After being so high up the order in stage 1.
That's probably a
now takes a huge hit. That's almost completely race over for the 12 car team. See if he is able to get back on track here. I believe
right now, no.
He is, yeah, that's Richard Odie came out on track. Byron Jones, who's at a similar looking car.
Yeah, no sign of him joining back yet. We'll keep an eye on it, but right now, not back in the lobby yet. They're about to take the green here, so that's going to be every lap it takes him to come back. That's 1 extra lap he'll have to make up. And right now, that's not looking good. Pace car going to pull on off here as we're going to get ready for stage 2. And away we go. Green flag is out. Wygent with a great launch. Peach may have got caught a tiny bit napping there as there was a stack up on the low side, but Wygent well clear heading off to the line.
Outstanding run for the field. Through 1 and 2 under green conditions. Tires getting up the temperature, up the pressure. 23 cars, lead lap. Richard Odie, the first car, the only car, 1 lap down as things stand. Very important, Dustin Hall slowly getting himself back in. But he's going to now need the same miracle as Josh Gaiman. And some of these drivers having a bad day. Luckily, they're all clustered together. So if Meteor falls, it gets all of them.
Yeah.
But right now, Wygent leads over Peach, as they were in the middle of stage 1. So they are now. Katie Height, though, in 3rd. Less in the way for the 3 car. Josh Susi up to 4th, keeping an eye on the middle of that 3 wide. That's the 27 of Bailey Thompson. Almost out of space, almost into Apperson in that 4 car as side by side with Josh Arnold Thompson goes, and there's still contact into 1 and 2.
Yeah, no one's giving an inch here, which is something you don't see. You see this on the final stage, not for stage 2 here, as drivers want to take advantage of this early range here, try to take advantage of those quick tires and really make advantage in game spots. Like we saw in stage 1 with Peach and Wygent trying to capitalize here and capitalize quickly as we ride on board here with the 8 of Cali Height. Dustin Hall is officially back, as you see right there. Big lick for Bobby Blowers, nails that wall, but we'll have to see if there's any damage to it. But right now, at least it's still driving in the right direction. But you can't get away with a lot of those big shunts and expect to keep that car looking pristine. You can see we'll cut back up as Bailey was side by side with Zach Apperson there, as they almost come to touching distance there, just inside the top 10. But they are really close, and neither of those 2 drivers giving an inch here. Both fighting hard to try to get the best run they can. Looks like Apperson will now get clear as Thompson will fall into the clutches of the car behind Frazier.
Cars in the wall, cars everywhere. It is no quarter given right now in stage 2. This is where things get a little bit more chaotic, though, as the pressure cranks up a little bit more. Side by side, Meredith and Caitlin Height. That is for 3rd. A little further down the order, they are still dooring each other here. It is physical all the way through. Thompson in this group, that is Blowers, I believe, looking further down the order here. Oh, that's Lily Frazier and Bailey Thompson. That's the 57 and the 27. Going side by side, forcing each other around. A little bit of chirping on the radio. That's from Apperson, though.
Listening in, it is chirp city.
It is an interesting...
Bailey. Oh, right there, Thompson.
Thompson and Blowers in the fence.
Trying
to somehow save it, but it's 4 wide. Thompson saves it from another attempted spin by Blowers.
I think Sasek said it best there. What the F is happening? And you can see right there, contact from the height, and Sasek almost sends Thompson into the grass. Somehow, they've got it straight. That is the main thing that shocks me right now. It's all straight, but everyone on the radio is right now wondering, what is going on? How did they all keep it straight? And more importantly, that was just strange.
That was uncalled for this point of the race, but everyone somehow kept it in the right direction. We'll take a replay of this. As you see, so Frazier and Blowers, obviously close friends there. Blowers not happy about what Thompson was doing to Frazier, and Thompson said, okay, here's some receipts. And Blowers tried to turn the 27. It didn't stick out. And then, obviously, 3 wide there, and Sasek's middle 3 wide. Thompson gets forced to the apron, and everyone eventually backs out of it. But this is not over, because the 27 and the Fit 94 are right there together, and as you see the front of the field, look who's up. Zach Meredith. All of this is popping up at the same time. First lap led of the night for the 17 car. Trying to do what his Bills couldn't do last night, and that's win a race.
Well, the Bills didn't race, but the Bills didn't win, and considering the fact that
last night,
how it ended up in Baltimore, we'll have to see on that one. Considering the history of Buffalo, that's...
Oh, look at Peach though, riding through the. He has the middle of the corners hooked up big time. Just closes right back in, and Dirty Air doesn't seem to affect him at all either. He looks so good in 3 and 4.
And this is what I was talking about. I was kind of what I was feeling about. He finds a way to make this car work at that high line at these kind of tracks like Wilkesboro, Darlington. Obviously, this is slightly different than Chicagoland, but it's still interesting to note this seems to be his bread and butter. Like, you give him a middle to high groove and some light through the air, that is when he thrives. Yet to find victory at these, but he is always in contention, dominating these races in some way, shape, or form. Back a little bit further back, we'll check back in on Bailey Thompson here with a Hatsuniku on the cars. I got that correction in qualifying, as that is not a mobile game. You can see up there on the front, you can see the little circle there, and Flowers just there as well. Probably not too thrilled, so they get together and get close. Battling again, it could be racing as we have a battle back for the lead. Meredith and Peach side by side. Meredith's going to go high, Peach going to go low here, riding over here with Wyjet in third. Kind of just lurking as the sun is now beginning to set on this great track here in Joliet, Illinois. Meredith will lead that lap. Peach, though, will slot back in second to try to make the challenge. But Meredith, from being a champion, it's been a long time since he's been in victory lane, and he's showing why he was a C2 champion right now, leading the way here. As you see further back, right now, Height making a move on Wyjet as they race on for third.
What a fight we've had so far in Stage 2. It has been everything we saw in Stage 1, but cranked up to 11. And it has been outstanding to watch. Apperson up to 6. He's gotten around Josh Arnold, riding on board with him now. The number 4 goes to Energy Car. Trying to chase down now the defending series champion. Trying as hard as he can to roll forward. Game of the inches right now.
It's interesting because you got right now the top 5. It's mirrored by a season 2 champion and a season 4 champion. So it bodes well for the 3 playoff drivers in between right now. In theory, that you're beating one champion and chasing down another. So if you believe in symbolism or omens, you could be maybe saying that your top 4 at Fontana could be Peach, Wyjet, Height, and Sosi. But obviously, let's not get ahead of ourselves right now, halfway through Chicagoland race. But Peach moving on as right over here with Apperson currently sitting in 6. He's having a great run in that 4 machine. As he's just kind of biding his time here, maybe saving his stuff a little bit and trying to get a good run here at the end of the stage, which will end on lap 9.
Slightly shorter Stage 2 with the caution laps as a part of it. Dustin Hall back on track, but 6 laps down. Trying to gain some time here, riding on board. This is Visor Cam with the 4 of Apperson still. And you can see through the window net off to the left-hand side, rolling into 3. This is going to be a problem for a lot of this race now. The sun, you saw there the flare just going through 3 and 4. It's hard to see anyway when you're focusing on the car in front of you. Now you have that giant flare coming through the windshield, and that really throws you off. You have to rely on muscle memory to get through 3 and 4 when you're looking at the sun. Riding on board here with Caitlin Height, the number 3 car sitting in 4th. She's going to try to make a move on Hunter Peach here. Look to the inside and try to find a point on the racetrack. You try to look for that white line and just gaze at the white line. Avoid looking at the sun to hold your spacing there. It is a nightmare at this time of day because it's going to be that way for at least 60 laps. They've got to get used to it, and then they got to get used to the change when the track cools down at the end of this race and try to chase the car in the opposite direction.
Obviously, when you get this weird stage right now, obviously with the glare and the tires begin to fall off, you gotta fight the car. You gotta deal with the track change and all that, and you gotta rely on muscle memory. It can be a situation that catches these drivers out if they're not careful. So this is where the pros of HTL really begin to shine. They deal with this kind of feel of muscle memory and all that as the sun sets and affects these drivers' vision. Right now, Meredith still holding strong. Wyjet there, you can see in distance in 2nd. Then it's Height, Peach in a bit of a 4. Sosi falling off a little bit from this top 4 here. It is under pressure of Apperson. So keep an eye on Apperson here, trying to sneak a top 5 here. Right now, you can see there's Sosi right now. Apperson and Flores too, so very interesting top 10. Usually drivers we don't see like Apperson, Denny, Frazier, strong drivers, but usually not top 10 week in, week out. So it's good to see these drivers really flexing their muscle here at Chicago. Good point brought up, Susi.
Sounds like Josh Susi might be saving. Let me see if I can listen on board here with that number 81. See if I can grab one of the onboard cameras here and see what he's doing. Riding on board with him here, and oh, he's 100% saving. That is a lot of clutch and coast into the corner. You saw the revs go down. You saw the teleprompter. See if we can get that back, because it's going to drop all the way down to near 0. Going through and see if he does it into 1 and 2 again. 100% he does. He is on that clutch. Getting it pulled down. He gets right to the apex and gets right back into it. So he's obviously really renowned and really smart about his saving, just letting the car engine break down into the apex.
Oh!
Which is smart. Ooh. That is scary for Hunter Peach. Hunter Peach is in trouble.
Yeah,
that 20 car
heck in there.
now having the same issues that we've seen so many times this season from the likes of Flowers. Latency and a lot of it. Hopefully it's temporary for the 20 car. He does not need a technical issue like what we've seen from Dustin Hall in this race. That would put him in a must-win situation in Bristol next week if he has to go through that. Especially right now, sitting on a really good haul of points if he can stay here in the stage. Just ahead of him, though, here comes Caitlin Height once again battling back to the inside of Wygant. Teammates on the outside. It's a 2-on-1 situation. Here comes Wygant, though. Forcing it 3 wide. He'll shut the door on Katie Height and go for the race lead.
As we watch this battle here, we'll see what Wygant can do on the low side. My thoughts go back to Sosi here in his saving method here. As he seems to be the only car that is trying to save that fuel right now. So it makes you wonder, as if the car's going to have to pit. Are they comfortable on fuel? Would Sosi unfuel it? Because he seems to be the only car really lifting and coasting right now, as we see Wygant again trying to chip on the low side here, trying to get that run. Height may not allow Wygant back in here, as he's not going to have to stay low side. He's made his bed. He's going to have to lie in it. And you'll see that kind of high group still the dominant lane. As Height now clear, Wygant will fall back down to 3rd. So Wygant's gamble to try to make a move did not work. And as they say, go for the king, you best not miss. Well, Wygant missed there. And now Height is going to try to challenge the 17 on the low side.
Yeah, so I have a feeling Susie's saving not so much just to get to the end of the stage, but to shorten up that pit stop and get the track position in stage 3, side by side, almost contact between the 3 and the 17. Susie, I think, is trying to play the track position game and try to get to the front of the field by having a shorter pit stop for fuel under the stage break, because he's not been able to leapfrog any of these drivers in front of him on the racetrack. He's having to strategize his way forward. He is not happy with the balance of the 81 car right now, and it's very apparent as we sit 3 wide, and you see that 4th lane empty for good reason. Everyone going to come at the racetrack together. Apperson tagged the wall just a smidge, but everyone makes it through here as Katie Height goes to the point of the race here, leading over Wygant. They both use the inside lane on Meredith. Meredith's tires beginning to fall off just a little bit. Meanwhile, Peach has fallen off dramatically, now in 4th by a distance, almost half a second now in counting between the 17 and the 20. 3-horse race right now, coming to 15 to go on the stage.
Meredith pitting.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah, Meredith coming in
so
here.
I wonder if they don't have enough fuel to get to the end of the stage, and that first caution of the race bailed everyone out in stage 1.
Maybe.
I wonder if that is sort of the situation we're in right now, and that would make Susie's call make even more sense. If Susie's trying to make it, so it must be close. It must be extremely close. Yeah, fuel only stops 6.1 seconds, so it's a lot of fuel that he just put in that car. Usually a single tank of fuel. They have 2 different tanks that they add to the cars at any point. Typically a tank of fuel is about 5 seconds. Usually you're sitting on pit lane more for tires now than you are for fuel. He will go a lap down too, and he will not have the fresh tires to benefit. He's got to hope that everyone else comes in too. Otherwise, he is now stuck 1 lap down, and that puts him on the back foot for stage 3. On board with Meredith, who now has to try to play track blocker with Susie in 3rd, Peach alongside. Height continues to lead as the laps tick away. But a very interesting strategy developing here if we do need that pit stop in this stage. Typically, we are fed an idea of what the pit window is going into these races. Typically, we have drivers on the track that can kind of feed us those numbers. We didn't have that for this race.
No, yeah, because the person that usually does it has been here the past couple weeks. So we're kind of just winging it here, as you see right there, keeping an eye on last lap times. Look at that MPH difference between the fast lap and the last lap. About 7 MPH difference this time by, still holding that average. So Sosi is in the mood to save and try to make it. I think another driver that's at least maybe attempting is right now Hunter Peach, who's falling like a stone as well. He's now almost outside the top 10, so something has gone wrong in Peach land here. He's right on board here with Hyjin. See if he's doing the same thing, and yep, he is. Heavy lift there. Question is, did he cut it a little bit too late? And Peach as well, saving as well, but right now he is really beginning to fall back.
It's very interesting to see how this plays out. We are on lap 79 now. There's 12 laps to go in the stage. Katie is full bore in the turns 1 and 2 there. And into 3 and 4 again, staying off of the throttle, or staying on the throttle and off the clutch there. You see, looking at Wygent, 10 miles an hour slower, almost exact here for Pacey Wygent, and that's a lot for Pacey Wygent. Looking at the lap comparison here, Pacey's best lap in this race, a 30.7. His last lap, 32.0. You can hear all the cars that are lifting, and there's a decent chunk that are all lifting here, and just kind of browsing through, Wygent's lifting a lot here. Susie's lifting. It looks like the 57 of Frazier is not lifting though. So Frazier's moved up the order because she's not saving. Susie is. Flores, I'm not sure he is. Just take a listen. You can hear that mix. You can hear the mix of cars that are on the cars that are off. The sudden deafening of several thousand horsepowers as everyone hits the clutch at the same time. Dustin Hall, obviously 6 laps down. He is not saving. He's kind of hoping that things go a little bit wild here at the end of this stage. Swatsworth also not saving, so a decent amount of cars not saving right now, and that's very important.
Makes you wonder if they saved earlier in the run. There's a possibility that happened
It's
too.
very possible that they saved early in the run because Katie Hyde stayed in line with a lot of the cars earlier in this run. Maybe her saving was all done earlier and she had her number and now she's good to go, whereas everyone else is trying to backtrack, which is very possible. But you would imagine the 81 at some point would be clear to go because he's been at this now for about 15 laps. He's not been doing this for just a couple laps. Here comes Katie in pit lane. So there's the answer to the question. Not saving fuel, not the answer. And now it's Lily Frazier leading the way as she saved enough fuel to get through the last 7 laps. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, this is
going to see what happens here.
Question of the day. It's probably going to fuel in for the 3. The only question I do wonder, but Frazier's coming in, so Frazier will give up the lead here too. So 3 in. Keep an eye on the tires if anything goes on.
Yeah, everyone's got to duck around the 57 too.
57
everyone
in.
Makes it around.
Throw it up the Wygent. So Wygent, Swatsworth, Zosi, Zier, Flores, your top 5. Swatsworth was another driver that wasn't in that save camp. No blink whether he's coming in or not. As chaos is happening.
A little bit of contact there. Flores turned down on a Hall. Hall sent him right back up the racetrack. Everyone battling still later on. Dustin Hall needs a lot of chaos to happen here. Here comes Swatsworth to the inside of Pacey Wygent. He wants a chance to win the stage. He won stage 1 last season. Trying to do so again here out of the playoffs, but looking for a little bit of pride points. Side by side, they'll go across the line. Wygent leads that lap as well. Remember, different variables into this fuel save campaign. With 5 laps to go in the stage, for everyone that is not taking fuel, they are out and under a blanket. Frazier comes out right in front of the race leaders. Gonna try to stay that way as Wygent sends it to the inside.
We're gonna have a big stint pitting here. We got Flores, Apperson, Zier all in this time.
Here comes Wygent. Wygent couldn't save enough.
Oh, you do not want to speed
one
now.
Of several Apperson almost spun. They all saved it though. Let's see if any of them got penalties.
Damage though, because a little run back in there. One of the cars ran back. I think Zier ran.
Apperson was run into, but Blowers had damage entering pit lane anyway. So the damage was done to Apperson's car for the most part there.
Denny coming in. He'll relinquish 3rd.
No penalties.
Yeah, no penalties. Make kind of sense here.
It's a very bold call. Unless you're taking tires here, I would assume that you make a mistake of taking tires trying to stay on the lead lap. That's a hard ask.
Yeah, he should have did that
Slotsworth
earlier.
leads the way. He's already a lap ahead of Blowers now, and everyone coming out of pit lane trying to stick it out long enough. Justin Hall's going to get one of his 6 laps back. Very important for him. Oh, does Slotsworth stay out? He does stay out, and he is in fuel. Oh, he is running out. He is in full clutch mode right now. Susie leads the way.
Pit lane closed.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, goodness gracious. This is going to be very intense for Chad Slotsworth if he can get around without coming down pit lane. Even if he can just get to the end of the stage and take emergency service and drop to the end of the field for stage 3. That's interesting. Dean Clavitt in 3rd also is yet to come down pit lane in that 90 car.
Nope, Swatter's in.
Peach. Yeah, Hunter Peach staying out as well. So Swatsworth in. It's Susie, Clavitt, Swatsworth top 3.
Well, Swatsworth's pitted.
Peach now top 3.
This is the last lap of the stage. Sosi, I think, has saved enough. Peach went with a heavy save. Looks like he will be good. Clavitt, Arnold, some question marks here, but 3 playoff drivers looking to make major gains here with this strategy playing out here. So as they come off of 3 and 4, riding on board here with Hunter Peach, really saving, and caution is out as the stage ends. So Sosi takes stage victory. Clavitt comes home in 2nd. Peach 3rd, Arnold 4th, Jones your top 5. So it was saved enough. Sosi's call to back down and save earlier than the bunch worked a treat. So as we take a look at the unofficial top 10, Sosi, Clavitt, Peach, Arnold, Jones, Withers, Height, Meredith, Wygant, your top 10 all getting stage points here. And this is big swings for Arnold, Peach, and Sosi as they will make up huge gains with Height and Wygant getting basically 4 and 2 points respectively. And taking a look at those point standings as well, you can see that how close it was between Height, Gaiman, Zier, Peach. Around the board, they were pretty close for the most part here. So getting those extra 6, maybe a 6-point advantage could be enough of a cushion to help you out at Bristol. One more thing to note as well is to see leaders coming out in here. Confidently, maybe Sosi on the radio saying, I had enough fuel to do one more. So Sosi maybe saying, hey, I could have did one more lap here. Kind of maybe flexing his hand, showing a little bit that if it goes 45 laps to the finish, which it obviously won't, but if we get a caution or something, he can make that work. So Sosi showing that, hey, if we have to make fuel saved, you better come to my camp because I'm going to make it as far as I need to make it.
So pit stops for the field, and everyone's going to top up full of fuel after a wild stanza in this race. Susi out with a 14.5 second stop. He will win that race off pit lane. Huge gains, though, for Dean Clavitt and Josh Arnold. Hunter Peach as well in the top 5. As the field comes out of pit lane, this really puts a hamper on things. A lot of the field's trapped a lap down in that exchange, trying to save fuel and end up failing to do so.
Looks like Sass is going to have to come back in for service again here, so keep an eye on the 9.
I believe he got the free pass.
Maybe, because I think he got back on the lead lap. He was one of the last few cars to get in, but he's coming back in again here. Very odd situation. This does make me wonder as well for some of the cars that came in, didn't take fuel, but couldn't get their lap back. They're now really in a rock and a hard place situation. To get the free pass, they obviously can't take tires and fuel, so it's a risky strategy here. You see pit lane of a crowded place, bunch of cars coming in here, get 4 tires and fuel. There's Josh Gaiman. It's been a race to forget for the 33, still contending, but being multiple laps down, he's going to need a lot of chaos if he wants to get back on this lead lap.
It's a hard knocks life for a couple of the chase contenders here. Dustin Hall, a technical issue. His power failed him. Put him 6 laps down. He's gotten one of those back, but needs a lot of chaos here in stage number 3. They try to get back on the lead lap right now, sitting 25th. Sasek in pit lane for some extended service, it looks like. Yeah, 31 seconds was that pit stop there, so definitely took some extended service there, but on the lead lap still. So everyone's very thankful for that. We have 17 cars on the lead lap by technicality. Zier, Blowers, Thompson, Denny, and Callie Height coming down pit lane. Callie's going to go ahead and come down pit lane and top off with fuel. So Callie realizing that maybe staying off sequence not going to be the right play. A lot of drivers going to be staying out, hoping for a bit of a miracle. Blowers, one of them. Thompson, Denny also in that group. But Susie and Clavitt front of the field. To start stage 3, Josh Arnold, Hunter Peach, row 2, and row 3, Katie Height and Zach Meredith.
This is going to be interesting to see how can some of these drivers capitalize. Again, Clavitt's given a good chance here to really run up front. What can he do with it? Same thing with Weathers, same thing with Frazier, Flores. What can they use and take this opportunity? Can they use this and capitalize with this long stage here? Obviously, green flag pit stop still looms for this field. They can't make it to the end, even to a point where, trying to do a quick math here, it's maybe 1, possibly even 2, if it's depending on how it lands. So overall, it's going to be interesting how this plays.
Very interesting. 26 cars still rolling in this field. 16 on the lead lap. Base car rolls into pit lane. It's on Josh Susie's command. Inside lane for the 81. Green flag flies once again, and we're racing in Chicagoland. Stage 3 underway. We've seen some fireworks already. The sparks really fly on lap 95.
Main thing I think in a lot of these drivers' minds right now is how aggressive do you have to be? How aggressive on this restart do you think is the correct aggressiveness to try to make up spots? Arnold already up the second. Clavitt hangs on the third. Then you got those drivers that had a bit of a poor finish to the stage there. Hunter Peach, for instance. Hunter Peach had a great one. But Wygit, for instance, who came in, only got a few points. This driver that's known for being aggressive is going to try to challenge your height on the outside line here. Here's Tommy Withers, currently 8th. From those drivers, you can see a handful of cars getting kind of looped off the straight as they all merge successfully. His cars are really trying to beat and bang here.
Broberg was one of those that got sent down below the white line. I'm trying to see who that was just behind. I believe that was Callie Height that was up near the wall. Either Height or Sear that was up near the wall there. One of the darker shaded cars was up near the wall. And this is
yeah,
Broberg got put in the middle. Callie Height was in the outside lane. Broberg tried getting back up there, and Height wasn't lifting.
Right at point
back up to the front of the field. Here we go.
It's a little early not to lift, but a lot of drivers are in that mindset now that once you get to the final stage, you're not lifting no matter what situation you're in. As you can see right now, the 81 wants to keep the lead, but Arnold really wants to get this lead. We kind of were hinting he's kind of in a must-win going into Bristol possibly next week with the points he's not got so far. But if he can win, that will be a major shakeup here as he's going to go low as we see a little blink there for him for a second. But we can take our mind back to last year at Bristol where it looked like he was at poise to make the Final Four. Caution is out.
Trouble. Caution's out. It looks like Swatsworth is just ahead of it. It's Callie Height. Oh no, and that's a destroyed race car too. Callie Height was pushing so hard, trying to make something happen. We'll see if we can get a replay pulled up. Here we go. This is the 8 car, right behind Zier. She's pushing so hard to try to become the first car a lap down, and that's nothing for Callie Height. That is the 71 of Caleb Carter. Just absolutely demolishing the 8 car Callie Height. And that was contact between Caleb Carter and somebody else. See if we can get another look at this. Is this Carter? This is where Swatsworth's involved. Carter was where Swatsworth was on the radio. Carter got moved up the racetrack because it was 3 wide with Gibney and Apperson. And oh, that's a violent impact. Parts flying all over the place for both the 8 and the 71. Obviously, Caleb Carter filling in for Lily Pelletier Sharp. That's a violent impact. And once again on board, This is on board the 71 of Carter. His race is equally done. This is, just tries smooth turning. I think, see if we can get a helicopter cam of that or a chopper cam or something. From that angle, it looks like Carter tries turning in and Gibney's just not moving down the racetrack. He's staying in the middle lane. But it's hard to tell. This is a little bit further forward. This is on Wygen. Yeah, Carter moves down a little bit more than Gibney's moving. And gets himself turned. And that, in fact, Cali Height does not look any easier from high above. This is from Wygen. This is Wygen up ahead. This is Caleb Carter in the 71. Yeah, he just turns on the racetrack because he's clear for a moment, but Gibney's driving in a little bit sharper than Carter is. And that's where Swadsworth gets involved. I saw him on the radio. And Callahan almost shoots the gap and gets through. Instead, gets shot right into the safe barrier on the outside of turns 3 and 4. And that is 2 races that are effectively done and over with. See if Caleb Carter's still rolling. Caleb Carter did come down pit lane under his own power. Callahan did not do the same. This is with Swadsworth. Looking at the racetrack here. Yeah, that's Carter moving now a little bit. Gibney sends it in deep. Where Carter goes down because he thinks he's clear. It's hard. That feels like a racing incident because Carter's moving based off of the information he's got, which is that he's clear. But Gibney's charging in there, and he's staying in the middle lane. He didn't move up the racetrack. That's hard. That's a very hard decision to make if you're the steward's room. And Cali Height's going to have one of the worst rides in motorsports. Trip to the infield care center.
Yeah, that's definitely an ego buster, even though it's not even her fault. It still hurts in those situations, knowing that you had a decent run going and just having now to go to the care center for something that wasn't even your fault. It just kind of stick to the teeth here. So anyway, we'll get the 1 to go this time by. You can see the lights out on the pace car here. It is officially becoming dark here at Chicagoland. As the cars now around, lights were obviously turned on right before the end of stage 2, but now fully starting to illuminate the track here as we see the 1 to go probably this time by. Arnold Wygen will be row 1. Peach Meredith will be row 2. There's the torn reins of Cali Height's car. This looks like she may have just, it looks like it was more of a lag spike than her objecting to go to the garage. Obviously not in the car right now at the moment, which is pretty cool that Iverson takes you out of the car like that. But as the cars go by with the 1 to go, Arnold Wygen row 1, Peach Meredith row 2, Height Flores row 3, Fraser Jones row 4, Sasek Sosi, your first 5 rows coming to the green flag with, give or take, about 55, 60 laps to go.
Cars topping off with fuel here. It's like Apperson, one of them. Cars get caught back up. 17 cars on lead lap with the addition of Bobby Blowers back to the lead lap. Kevin Gibney, Martin Roberg, Shad Swadsworth, Gary Donaldson. It looks like Caleb Carter stays 1 lap down. Although still wounded. As we're right on board with that Ford Mustang pace car. They get to exercise here in stage 3. 4th caution of the night, I do believe. Yeah, it is 4th caution of the night.
Yes.
We went caution free in stage 2. Pace car pulls in. You watch the field roll away. It is Josh Arnold and Pacey Wygen in front of the field. Away we go. Green flag back in the air. 64 laps to go.
With a green flag pit stop still looming in this distance, we're probably going to see the tail of maybe 2 strategies here. Some cars are going to go hard here in this stage to that caution, or I should say their pit stop that will take. Others are going to maybe keep the associate approach, try to back it up a little bit, get those extra couple laps, and get that extra life in those tires. So if we do stay green to the end of this race, we'll see how these strategies play out, what drivers are going to do to try to get a good run here. Right now, Josh Arnold took that lead there for a lap, led it. No bonus points for leading, but Wygen now going to answer back on the high side. Arnold trying to get as close as he can to side drive, maybe take the suck back. 4 wide back there. Tommy Withers feeling bold. Going to go low side of Clevitt. See her right there, keeping it clean. Game and wall a bit, very close. Everyone's keeps going in the right direction, though, but a few cars tapping the wall.
Everyone running wild. They know it's an easy pit stop to make it to the end of this race. Wild stuff here. Coming to 61 laps to go. 4 wide, down back to 2 wide. Riding on board with Alfred Denny, the 29. Look to the outside of the 23, and that's even scarier. Bobby Flowers blinking in and out there in the 94. Nightmare fuel if you're the 29 or the 23, trying to deal and get around him, especially now that he's moved to the inside lane. If you're Alfred Denny, good luck predicting them.
Yeah, you're on the radar right now with a steward, someone, Flowers telling you you're blinking, get out of the way. This is not the time nor the place. I know you have a right to be here, but we got to be able to predict where you're going to go. Back up, Peach, and is moved around Arnold. Arnold's now falling down to 4th here. Meredith's gone around as well. So obviously took the early pit stop there in stage 2. Didn't get any points for it. Now back up top 3. Obviously driver now pretty much just in a I'm here for the checkered flag mentality. This has got a good run here, but Peach currently 2nd, Wige at 1st. Either those drivers in 1st or 2nd take victory. They will punch their ticket to Fontana and join Sosi for fighting for a championship in about 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely wild stuff here so far. Front of the field, Peach looking for a chance at a race win. Remember, a win gets you in as long as you also start next week at Bristol. We want to talk about that cut line getting intense. If Josh Arnold, who right now is sitting 4th place, gets a race win, that puts a lot of pressure on everybody to perform at Bristol next week.
Well,
so Arnold looking for his first career win.
Plus, that changes the line. So we're talking about, obviously, big losses for Gaiman, big losses for Hall here, who probably going must-wins. But if a must-win driver that gets a win, changes the line changes, and then drivers right now currently maybe above the line just barely, like Lilac Sear, for instance, who at the moment you could realistically argue, obviously don't have updated points, but could realistically argue be a driver that is currently hovering at that line. Caitlin Height, another driver who had a good stage 1, stage 2 a little bit lower. If she can't really rebound well here, could be another driver that could miss out by a random rogue driver taking a victory here. So you got to keep on your edge, and if you're one of those drivers trying to point their way into the Final Four, you're hoping nothing crazy happens and that too stays in a spot where you can't find victory. Right now, still riding at 4th, minding his P's and Q's. Caution is out again here. Looking to see who it was. It was Elias Flores.
Elias Flores, ooh. Out of turn 4 too. This is in the restart zone.
We'll see if we can take a look here. Obviously not as torn up as the 8 machine was on her incident. Obviously, we'll see again. Single car incident, obviously right around the track, though usually not single car when you're in that pack.
Oh, it's gonna be a little bit of contact here, I think. This is down the back straightaway, 3 wide behind. This is Clavitt looking to the inside, the 90.
Bailey in the middle.
Bailey Thompson in the middle, and I think, oh, this is where, I don't know if there's I'll have to get a different angle of that, because that could have been an absolute disaster. I don't know if there's contact between Elias Flores and Dean Clavitt there. They were nose to tail. This is a good angle right here. See if Clavitt tags the 99 in 3 and 4, because on first glance it didn't look like that was the case. Oh, he does get him, because the 99 of Flores moves up the racetrack. So Clavitt tags him, but it's not before the 99 checks up after getting loose. So it's not Clavitt's fault there at all. And that could have been way, way, way worse for most of the field there. Running with Alfred Denny, who gets a really good shot of the 99's gold and black Ascent Racing colors.
Basically avoided it by getting deep there. Almost runs into Clavitt, spinning in front of you. We slow it down, and like Neo in the Matrix, just skates by the Ascent Racing machine.
You want to talk about the curving bullet. That is a bullet turning away from you at the last possible moment. Alfred Denny counting his lucky stars, praying to the Milwaukee cheese gods there.
He's already used 3 of those lights. Considering the fact that early incident with Gaiman and Ascent Racing, that's the 2nd time he's really avoided major catastrophe. Now riding over Clavitt. Opposite Flores gets a little loose. Clavitt gets a little shunt. At this point, he's clear, but luckily, again, no one hits that spinning 99 that could have made this easily a lot worse.
Yeah, that could have been disastrous. And instead, it's basically a single car spin for Elias Flores, who stays on the lead lap. And I believe this allows Chad Spotsworth a chance back on the lead lap. So that's 18 cars now on the lead lap was Swatsworth, recovering from his involvement with that incident with the 71 and the 8 car. He's now back on the lead lap too.
You are
so,
correct.
Really important for Swatsworth there, who had a really good race car earlier in this race. See if he still got it. Obviously not at 100%, but sometimes that doesn't matter. Sometimes it's about just getting that position. Swatsworth one step closer to doing that with 18 cars on the lead lap. It is Sasek, Withers, Meredith, Peach, and Blowers. 2 cars stayed out, Sasek and Withers. Everyone else came down pit lane. This is going to be very interesting because no one is still good to go. We're still over 50 laps away from the finish of this race. That is still a pit stop because very few people can make it 45. No one can make it 50. And we're still 50. We're becoming green with about 53 laps to go.
But it brings back to that point I was bringing up, though, is how hard do you run? Obviously, cars came in. Most of them took tires, and if you did stay out like Sasek and Withers, but most that came in took tires, so they're going to go hard here. But it does make you wonder again, how, obviously, I don't even think the benefit would be to kind of save a little bit, because then if you come in with like 6-7 laps to go, you're not going to have time to make those tires work. But you can see right there, as Kristina circles for us, 44 laps was the longest stint in stage 2 that someone was able to make it. So if we get one more caution, in theory, depending on where it lies, it could be just enough for someone maybe daring enough to try to make the great escape here.
Very interesting at this point to see how it all plays out. Oldest tires for Sasek and Withers, who you'd have to assume are not going to spend a lot of time at the front of the field with how fresh everyone's tires are now behind them. For everyone tuning in, we are 1 to green here for the Chicago 350 HTL Cup Series. 3 races to go, including tonight. And for everyone tuning in, I'm Carmen, Sienna, alongside me, Kevin Young. Kristina Ryan behind the camera, managing the broadcast. It has been a wild race, a little bit of everything. Stage 3 underway. Coming green, 54 laps to go here in Chicagoland. We're glad you're with us here on ABN Esports 1. Enjoying what you're seeing right now. Come back tomorrow night. HTL Hammer Down Truck Series from the Last Creek Coliseum in Bristol. That's at 8 p.m. right here on ABN 1 as well. And on YouTube on Wednesday at 8 p.m. It's the ABN Champ Car World Series from USA International Speedway. We have a lot of racing to figure out here and settle down here in Chicagoland still. Sasek, Withers, Meredith, Peach, Flowers, top 5. Green flag flies, and away we go. Very stacked up restart, and you see it fan out. And again, oldest tires in the field at the front of the field. And they are all swarming around the 23 of Withers, who immediately got moved to the very far outside lane. Meredith with the best run of the bunch so far. He gets to the front. Here's Blowers. And everyone trying to find their way through. Thread the hole. Contact Withers and the 00 of Wygent. Cars in the fence. Wygent got through. That was Peach in the fence. That was Susie in the fence. But they made it through. But everyone scrambling to get through here and leave the cars on old tires behind. Remember, more than 50 laps to go. We have a pit stop still for the entire field. 18 cars on the lead lap. Meredith, Flowers, Wygent, all in this mix. Same with Caitlin Height. Eli Sasek, oldest tires in the field, stays true in third. But he is at a disadvantage, but everyone's at that one stop left. Eli Sasek, if this stays green, will have an undercut, which could be very important later on in this race. Time will tell.
Yeah.
Looking right now as the field rolls through turns 1 and 2, down the curve, back straightaway. It is still bedlam and 2x2. A lot of chop blocking now as we go into turn 3.
I think the old saying kind of proves true here. If you can't keep up with the pack will move you, and you saw that with the Withers. But Sasek, we know, is a driver that is fine in ovals, but you wouldn't call him an oval god per se. If he can make this strategy work, caution is out. Yellow flag, big incident right there. I'm trying to see who was involved. I think Arnold.
Goodness gracious, that is a huge crash. That is, and that's what we were afraid of. That is about as close to the big one as we're going to get. Looking down here, Martin Roberg's involved.
Danny got his lives have ran out. He got involved.
You saw Chad Gaiman, Bailey Thompson also involved.
Caleb Carter.
Looks like
Martin.
Elias Flores may have gotten a piece of it.
Kevin Gibney.
Dean Clavitt. Let's see if he got into it at all. Let's see here. Looks like he got away with it. Looks like he was just in front of it. Let's take a look at the replay here.
Oh, Sosa was involved.
Hold on, that's Josh Susie. And who is that with him? That is the 19 of Byron Jones. It looks like those two may have been where the contact began. Frazier, Zier. That is where Gaiman gets involved. That's off of Bailey Thompson. In the 27, Denny's involved. There's Caleb Carter, who's trying to avoid the melee. And it looks like that's Richard Odie as well in the 78, just behind, going into the accident here. Zach Apperson involved. Oh, dear. That was from high above. This is in real time.
Yeah, this will show us
and
here.
This is the accident. This is on the front straightaway. So we're rolling into this. Byron Jones, the 19. Josh Susie in the 81. Clavitt got lucky with this. Got very, very lucky with this. A little bit of contact. Oh, Byron Jones just drifts off the racetrack into him. And Clavitt gets a little piece of it, but nowhere near the impact that we see. All the dust off of the safer barrier there on the front straightaway. Clavitt gets a piece of it. I think he's claiming latency got him through that because there's no damage on that 90 car. Can't say the same about the 99, the 19, or any of the other cars involved here. And that's just Byron Jones trying to side draft the 81 so hard. And the 81's counting his stars that he won last week, is what he is saying right now. That is...
It's just odd.
That you either think that you're clear, either you're getting your clear calls from the spotter, because your spotter's trying to predict the run of the 81, or you're just trying to side draft. Either way, it looks bad. And it's not intentional. I'm going to go ahead and say this. That is not intentional. That is a lapse of judgment. That is a bad call. But it's not intentional. But he's trying to do something, either slide it behind the 81 and get the outside lane, or trying to side draft and slow the 81 down. Either way, it doesn't work.
Nope.
And Richard Odie, lucky him, just sees the C's part and just picks the lane. This is with Zier, who's going to have a really bad front row seat for this.
Yeah, remember, she almost won last week. We're talking about possibly winning, could have gave you all thing. Now, both cars that were first and second last week, heavy damage. Zier is still continuing. She won't go a lap down, which is, I guess, good, but that is still big lick for that number 50 machine. Definitely could have been worse, but definitely going to have some major scratch on this machine. One more look here on Sosa.
This is for Susie.
Yeah.
You're just going to see, whoops.
Almost a clear. Whoops. Car goes around. At this point, you're just praying you don't get majorly hit here.
That could have been way worse for Susie, too, because Gaiman went in there with a full head of steam. Let's see if we're running. This is with Byron Jones. This is going to be a really telling look. Susie pinches a little bit. Yeah, he moves up the racetrack trying to stay above that seam. He goes from being below it to above it. And again, that's just a poor judgment call. That's not, again, that's nothing against Byron Jones. He didn't intentionally turn Susie on the straightaway. That is, it looks like he's trying to slot in behind the 81, and he just isn't clear. And Denny was a huge shot. And there's no time for Denny to react. You see the 81 spin to the inside lane, you're just like, okay, I'm clear. And then middle of nowhere is where he ends up being. We're on board. This is the rear. This is looking back from Apperson's car. This is not going to be a fun shot from Apperson's car. This is going to be another busted camera, I think.
We'll see.
Yep, camera's gone. Bye-bye, camera.
That's another one. Usually get these broken cameras at Daytonas, Talladegas, but we already lost two.
That's rough.
Yeah.
This is Martin Rober, who also gets a decent piece of it as we are 1 to green here. This will be the last replay we take a look at here. And this is Martin Roberg, who does not get quite so lucky. Yep. Little piece of contact, but overall, not bad for the 97 car. He's already had his fair share of knocking around. As we ride on board, here's the race leader, Pacey Wygent will run through the leaderboard. The race leader is actually Zach Meredith. Wygent's, though, on the front row inside there with 31 laps led. Teammates have led the majority of this race, as they did at Atlanta not too long ago. Bobby Blowers and Josh Arnold sit in row 2. Eli Sassa, Connor Peach, row 3. Caitlin Height, Dean Clavitt, row 4. Row 5, Shat Swatsworth and Bailey Thompson, who is in the top 10. And this is becoming a little bit like Darlington, where everyone's got some pinstripes on the side of their cars. And remember, still more than 45 laps away from the finish here. Coming to start lap 122. Green flag is in the air, and away we go. Green flag flies. Meredith an early jump. It's teammates 1, 2, and 3, like they were in Atlanta. Although this time they're hoping for a little bit less calamity so they can actually sweep the podium here. 2 cars out of the race, Apperson and Flores.
And let's also take a look at this
cars on the
yeah.
lap.
Yeah, 14 cars on the lap. Let's take a look at this as well. We talked about the longest you go to stint is about 44 laps. Well, we're about to hit 44 laps right now as Wygent hits purple sector 2 there. So obviously, we're at the window. If we get another caution, we're going to see final pit stops happening. So overall, even at this range right now, some of the cars that may have came in and topped off under that last caution, some of the cars that may have gotten damaged, this could be a possible we can make it to the finish line approach here. They really back it down. So if it stays green to the finish line, keep an eye on those cars that may have gotten minor damage or still have a little bit of speed. If they go slow enough, they could maybe be able to reap some of the rewards by being involved in this wreck. So it could be a blessing in disguise, possibly, if it stays green, which is the more important thing, if it stays green. Checking out Dean Clavitt here, sitting right now currently in 10th position, keeping a little bit of a heavy distance away from 11th of Tommy Withers. You can see cars just getting a little racy, but not as racy as they were early in the stage. Maybe being a little bit lackadaisious here, not wanting back-to-back-to-back cautions here.
Brian Boris Spotsworth back in the top 10. Thankfully, most of what happened in stage 2 negated. Josh Susi. This is not where he wanted to be in this at all.
Nope.
Because he is on his own little island here. So much damage on the 81 car. Again, thankfully he won last week at Watkins Glen because he needs it. Because you'd hate to have to rely on this race and now be where he's at right now, 14th off the pace. And if we go green, in danger of going a lap down.
Yeah.
14 cars on the lead lap right now. This is the battle for the race lead between Wygent and Meredith, not resting on their laurels. Remember, Peach in 4th also needs to have a battle here with Wygent and Arnold. Only one really just trying to play spoiler right now is the 94 of Blowers and the 17 of Meredith. Caitlin Height also in this group as well, sitting in 6th. Very tight group still, but it's calmed down closer to the front of the field. Back to what we saw a little bit more in stage 1 right now. I think everyone now pretty well aware that you're either making it on fuel or you're making a splash and dash and just sprinting at this point. And it looks like the front of the field's kind of in that sprint mode.
Look at Arnold just clearing himself there. He's not wanting to give a fight here. Thinking this is his best chance. Does not want to give up here. Wygent will get clear. Arnold going to try to rip it around the high side on Meredith. Arnold's got that run preferred line. Now Peach going to try to do as well. So Meredith goes from beating a lap ago now down 3rd, possibly 4th here. So overall, Peach going to drift that high side. And honestly, I'd say right now this top 7 is maybe even top 9 up to Swatsworth is clearly on the we are not going to try to make this work here. We are going to go splash and dash. The one driver I think is trying it is Clavitt. Times right now are indicatively kind of down on pace in comparison to the cars around him as that gap continues to grow. Bailey Thompson also making a move there, but let's check right on board with him, see if he's doing any lifting, or maybe he's got some slight minor damage from something else here. So riding him into 1 here. Not as much of a lift I thought he is, but he is a little less throttle than some of the other cars around, so maybe not in full save mode. That's Zier, my mistake, but still, yeah. Still just riding around here. Zier also was involved in that incident as well. Further back, really that's probably the Hail Mary throw she may try. Back up front, Arnold taking clear. He will lead that lap. Now go high side as Wygent and Peach side by side for 2nd here. You see the top 5. You don't see this very often. Top 5 filling your screen at once there with a little graphic on the bottom as no one is giving out. Well, Wygent going to get shuffled out here on the low side. As now Meredith going to try to reclaim a slot. And look at Bailey Thompson. Hatsumiku on the car, trying to provide her some good luck here and try to get that 27 in the victory lane. His car hit the wall hard. Meredith mows the wall down, and he is going to lose multiple spots here. Big lick for the 17 machine. He mowed that wall down like it owed him money. And now I'm worried he's got some heavy damage because you don't usually go 170 to a wall and hit as hard as he does and keep that car repetitively clean. Still focusing on the action live up front here. So riding on board, the on-camera shot with Arnold, who's got a healthy gap right now to Peach. Now sitting in second, 8 laps only led by that machine in question. But hey, 8 laps is better than nothing, but the 1 lap he's hoping to lead is the final lap. He's doing at least a good job right now at the moment. Honestly, I was taking a look back from my own perspective here to see what it's at to happen to Meredith, and he and Wygen both got some contact there that sent Meredith into the wall, so right now, Meredith probably not too thrilled that 0-0 machine, to say the least, is now Meredith's currently sitting in 8th. Wygen currently sitting in 3rd. Another driver's having a good run, like I was talking about earlier. Bailey Thompson currently sitting in 4th position. She was involved in that last caution. She got probably one of those drivers you can say in that last big one that got minor damage, or maybe almost no damage, and is still keeping that car relatively clean. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Right now, she's kind of being both. She just hits that wall, though. Little hit, though. Not too much damage, but enough of a comfortable gap to fit there in Bobby Flowers. A bit further back, here's Caitlin Height battling Zach Meredith to battle for 7th and 8th. Again, makes it wonder if some of these cars have been trying to hit that magical number here, because you expect Caitlin to be one of those cars that is up there challenging, fighting. She's not really holding her times indicatively. She ran 31.16, compares to the best lap of 30.71, but that's about the same times as our leaders, so really not lifting all that much. Maybe just in a bad stink here, as now Meredith now up to 6th position. Last time we'll have 30 laps to go here. We assume, at the very least, with the range they're going, Arnold, Peach, Wygen, and Thompson will all have to make another stop here. They're probably in the splash and dash category here, especially because they came in at lap 110. Honestly, I think the first car that maybe could try to stretch here is Withers. Came in at 118. Currently sitting in 10th, so we'll have to keep an eye on him here. Driver loves those alt strategies. Along with Sosi, who came in on 120 with caution. Both have, in the camp of drivers that have the most fuel in the car right now, as you can see on the lap counter too. Sasek probably not the pit here in a couple laps, considering 43 laps since his last pit. But he'll at least have the one advantage of the undercut on the cars around. Now riding aboard here with Wygen, sitting in 3rd position. Trying to get that good run. You can see Arnold very aggressively defending the dogleg here, but Peach and Wygen aren't really biting. They're running their own race and just trying to make the number they need, making the range they need to make, and make sure not to get in Arnold to the headlights. Giving a real shove to Peach there, coming down the long straight. They have really opened up a big gap to Thompson, about a second clear. Arnold going low, Peach getting an okay run, but Arnold cover it up. Now seeing that Flowers shot, cars fighting. Height, Meredith, Flowers, pretty much side by side here. This is Wygen, not Wygen, Withers currently sitting in 10th. So tail 2 halves, and right there, Thompson getting side by side with Swatsworth. Swatsworth wants to get inside the top 5 here. Thompson hits the wall again, another hit there. Makes you wonder if they are hitting the speed out of that thing. Right there, good run by Swatsworth. Will get clear. Now Height gonna follow suit here and use the open lane to her advantage. She'll be low side here. Can she get clear of the 18? They touch a little, but no one goes wrong way around. 18's got the preferred line on the high side, but the 3 gonna try to answer back again here, low side. Can she get clear? Do a slide job here. Riding aboard here with Flowers. He's got the best seat in the house of this battle. Height getting clear. Swatsworth taps the wall just a tiny bit. So put Height now up to 4th. Swatsworth to 5th. Meredith now in 6th. As it is a major shuffle, but they're about 2 and some change away from that top 3, which just shows you how far away and how big of a gap that top 3 has opened on the cars in 4th through 7th. So anyway, as Bobby Blowers is going to come in this time by. So Blowers is going to be the first of the top 10 to pit here as he is officially blinked. He knows he can't make it. He came in kind of hot there, but no lockup. I think he'll be okay for the most part here, not to get busted on speeding. So he will be in, he will pit, meaning it's kind of indicative, I'd say, that if he's coming in this early, he wants the undercut. He wants to use the fresh tires, as it will be only about a give or take 20-odd-ish laps, 25-ish laps run to the finish line here. So that is going to be an interesting call here. Meredith's going to follow suit this time by as well. So knowing that you can kind of abuse the tires 20 laps and still be relatively fast, some of these drivers want to take advantage of this and use this undercut to your advantage. Meredith also in. He will give up his top 6 to come on in and get 4 fresh tires. But up front,
I was
it's
following
still the
along
Arnold,
here.
Peach, and Wygen show, as Carmen's got something to say.
So I was following along here, checking the telemetry of all the cars really that are on the lead lap and contending. Next to nobody's got the ability to save here because remember, we went green with 45 laps to go. They pit with more than that left to go in this race. So nobody's able to make it at all. Zero obviously pit 23 laps ago. She's got to make it another 25 laps, which is putting it really close to 50 laps that are on that full tank. Zier's not saving right now, so she's going to be one of the last ones to come down pit lane. Same with Roberg and Donaldson. They are going to be one of the last ones that come down pit lane. Everyone else needing to make a pit stop as well. So everyone at this point, I think, pretty well safely is sure that they're not making it to the end without a splash and dash at least. A lot of the cars coming in now are taking tires, but I would not be surprised to see someone like Zier or Susie try to stretch it and just go with that splash and dash and try to save time. But right now, the strategy everyone's on right now where you pit and really cut this race, or this third stage, in half, that's the right call. You're going to have the fresh tires. Everyone's taking 4 tires and going with it. That's the right call to make. The drivers that are pitting right now will be among those that are be racing for the race lead and trying to win this race, especially when you look at Peach, you look at Arnold in this mix as well. Everyone's going to be in this conversation, but this is the right conversation to be at right now. You're going to have a couple long goers here as Pacey YG comes in this time. He's got around Arnold there momentarily, but Arnold obviously still in earshot, which is what matters. Obviously keeping this group together. Peach, Arnold, Meredith, and Wygen obviously in the same group there, just not all on the same team with Peach racing for NFG Motorsports. Meredith fell off the group here, so it's going to be a 3-car fight, you'd imagine. But Katie Height's in that group too. And Katie Height, I believe, I don't know if Height's come down pit lane. Height has come down pit lane, just came out of pit lane.
Yes.
So Height gained on this group because this is a part of the leading group that we're expecting to see when these pit stops scroll away. There's Wygen. So they've gotten around Wygen. So this is the lead group.
Yes.
When everyone cycles through, this will be the lead group unless a caution unfortunately comes out. This will be the lead group when everything cycles through. So Wygen now well off the course. And Bailey Thompson's in on it. Teammates almost. Close enough to being teammates. Good together. And it's Peach that gets the best of it.
You know, Arnold, again, Arnold's, it's been a long winless campaign for him. You know how elusive that first win tastes. And considering 20 laps to go, you're in the lead pack. You want to make sure you get yourself in a run here to give yourself that chance to lead the train here at the right spot. But considering right now they're also battling for the lucky dog here at the very least, they're about to unlap themselves anyways. Gibby is obviously the leader here, so they're going to unlap themselves. So it's a mute point that they were battling for the lucky dog. But this lead pack here is going to be pretty much 4 cars here. As you can see right there, Height trying to get through there. And that's going to open the door for Thompson to try to get through, but can't get the job done. So as this race continues on, it's going to be these 4 cars here. Meredith just a snowball's chance away there. The next car in line, then Sassy a little bit further back, as they are going to try to make this battle finish out for the win of this race. But right now, right up over Thompson, who is also has not found victory lane yet. You got 2 very hungry drivers and 2 seasoned vets trying to find victory lane here.
Absolutely insane, the battling. We're seeing that right now. Several cars in this group. Arnold sitting 4th. Started this race top 5. Has been top 5 most of the day. And remember, 3 cars yet to pit. Gibney, Zier, and Susie. have all yet to come down pit lane. Kevin Gibney Jr., the race leader at the moment. He's been everywhere. His team's been everywhere. It's been an up and down day for Lady Liberty and Valfreya. So Gibney leads the way the first time, I believe, all season. But he's going to come down pit lane soon.
Yeah, he's coming
Sear already in.
Yeah. I think Gibney may have led a lap somewhere else previous this season, but he's now coming in. So that's going to put Sosi up to the lead eventually when Gibney pits. Sosi, Zier. Look at Sosi and Byron Jones. They had their little contact earlier, and now they're on the same track here again. Obviously in different ideology here. Obviously Sosi still trying to battle for something. Jones being a lap down, not really in his fray of battle here. You know, no love lost between the two of them right now as they're on track. But back to what will be our lead battle when they presumably Sosi pits. Frazier going to get out of the way here, and Arnold's going to be currently the facto leader. Peach following in train here, and Caitlin Height in third. So 3 playoff drivers, all without wins in this round, could try to lock their way in. And you got the spoilers of Thompson and Meredith sitting behind in the wings, ready to capitalize. If something happens, we'll have 15 to go next time by.
This is very big. Again, this is the nightmare scenario if you're someone like Wygen. Your teammate Josh Arnold, last place in points in the top 8 going into this race. Right now leads the way. Obviously, Peach winning also does not help Wygen at all, but it's even more disaster if it's someone, obviously, like, you know, obviously you look at Josh Gaiman, who's not really in contention now, or Dustin Hall, if they had won, that would hurt, and that makes Bristol even more interesting. But right now for Josh Arnold, if he flips this on his head and gets him into the top 4, a top 4 he almost got into last season, had it not been for this race last season in contact with Tommy Reynolds at this time last season that knocked him out. This would have been the race that helped him seal the deal in season 4.
And does that sit on his mind?
Now it's sitting on him right now. He's in the captain seat with Hunter Peach. They're going to have a dogfight here. Peach sweeps to the inside. As right on board with Susie, still the race leader, but needs to come down pit lane. Cannot make it these next 15 laps. This is going to be very interesting as these drivers, all of them are fresh tires, by the way, reel in the race leader. Susie had a 7-second gap, is now down to 6.2, so they are closing in rapidly. Even if Susie can make it on field, he's not going to hold off this charge of 5 cars, line astern,
honestly,
over the next 13 laps.
Yeah, honestly, he's just hoping for a caution so he can come in along with the rest of the field, take 4 tires. Even that 81's a bit wounded, so even if he can make that work, you got to worry about the speed differential. So right now,
yeah, it's down within 5 seconds. He is losing over a second a lap, so they're going to catch him before they get to lap 160.
The only question is, does he be a bit of a pick here and help out teammate Caitlin Height here a little bit? Obviously, it's hard to be a
win.
Yeah, obviously it's hard to be a pick when you have a mile-an-hour difference here, or at least a second-hour difference. But that does raise the points. But at the same point, you don't want to, knowing you got your ticket punched in Fontana in a couple weeks, you don't want the shoe to be on the other foot here. But the 81, that would be a mute point. Sosi in, meaning that right now our battle for the lead and the win is right now in Josh Arnold's hands.
And
trying to light
Hunter Peach tagged the wall at a 4. So, because as we were watching Susie come in, I was looking at a 4 and just watching Peach just tag the wall. Everyone just trying to close in little by little. The field is spread out now. The caution would flip this race on its head 100%, but the field's spread out enough that it seems unlikely at this point. We're going to have a dogfight here with 11 laps to go at the line. Josh Arnold trying to do something he could not do last season, something that he's been waiting for the better part of 2 seasons now, and that's trying to get his first win at the most critical time. 3 chase drivers at the front of the field. Arnold, Peach, Height, all of them need race wins to lock themselves into the next round, the final round. Caitlin Height missed the championship 4 altogether last season. Does not want to make a habit of that again. Hunter Peach, we know how good he is at Fontana. He would love to have a surefire ticket to get to the championship race.
Again.
And he is pushing so hard. Caitlin Height's got an open door. Just can't close in the way she needs to right now on that 20 car.
Sosi right there up the road. Sorry to cut you off, but that is Sosi.
And he's trying to stay on the lead lap because I believe he took fuel only on his pit stop. And Arnold's going to get around him here. That's very helpful if you're Josh Arnold, because Susie just went up the racetrack and blocked Peach.
Oh.
So Peach is going to move down the racetrack too. This puts Peach right in the hands of Caitlin Height. These two, if they start fighting, it could let the two get away. Look at the 27, 3 cars together, all teammates. 2 of them on the lead lap. Susie now a lap down. Bailey Thompson looking for one of her best finishes in the series.
Yeah, she sees that podium right ahead of her. If contact a bounty, he could be there to take a podium. So right now, holding strong there. Obviously, he's not let a lap all day, but ready, working in the lanes. When you see a podium in front of you, you do not want to let those opportunities fall away. And right there, up is Peach, a little bit of a lag out for a second there. Should come blinking back in a second here. And there he goes right back.
That's so scary, especially if you're Caitlin Height, because you're riding right into the bumper of that 20 car. 7 laps to go is what we're coming to here. When we get across the start-finish line again, Caitlin Height looks to the inside.
Now Arnold hoping Height does not get clear here. As I think Height gets clear, that's going to be game on for the 2 and the 3. Peach, I think, has burned up the stuff a little bit here, but not going away on the high side. 6 laps to go. If you're Arnold, you're also not hoping for a caution here. You want to see this go green to the finish line.
This is insanity. 7 to go right now. It is Josh Arnold with
again.
Peach for the 3rd time. He's in the wall. And they're still side by side. This is a battle to transfer in. This is the battle that matters right now. This is not only for a race win, for a lot of drivers that have a winless route right now. This is a chance to get into the championship 4 and not worry about Bristol next week. This is the role in the Thunder Valley, relaxed and poised and ready for Fontana, the season finale in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah,
Josh Arnold currently has it. Peach and Height battling for 2nd place, slowing each other up. It is a 6/10 gap. Coming to 5 laps to go.
You get that extra practice time. If Arnold hangs on and wins this, or if Height or Peach win this, if they can find a way and get around Arnold, you get that extra week of practice time. You get that time to really tune in on Fontana, figure out what you need to do, run practice races, run whatever you need to run. And
notice what Josh Arnold is doing right now. He is going down, using the apron, the place that no one else is going right now. He's preventing these 2 cars behind from getting draft, from getting slipstream. Katie gets clear for 2nd, finally gets clear. But here comes Peach to the inside, not about to let this go. Coming to just a handful of laps to go. We're coming to 4 laps to go here. Sorry, coming to 3 laps to go. This is coming to lap 164. This is coming to 3 laps to go. Arnold tagged the wall.
Hits the wall. That's going to give the life wrap to the 3.
Oh, no. That could be the issue. That brings it to a head. 3 to go. 2/10. Katie's in that range. She's got to drive through it, though, and she has not had the best car tonight. That has to be said. She has been far from the best car tonight in that 3 car. Arnold has the advantage. He can defend, and he can defend well. Katie Height's got to drive around him. She's got to find out in very short order what she can do with 3 miles here. Arnold driving the line out of the 2 car. 2 laps to go. Katie's on the bumper. She's got to drive around him the hard way. Katie started this race so well on pole position, trying to get back to the front of the field. She's led so little of this race. Katie looks to the inside. Arnold blocks down to the white line. And Katie gets the white line. She gets the inside. Arnold on the outside. That's a good defensive lane normally, but he's burned his tires a little bit. Katie's going to try to drive around. And Arnold's got 1 shot. White flag. 1 lap to go, presented by Henderson Graphics.
What do you do to get your first win and get into the Final 4? How desperate do you need to be to make this happen? Not the good runoff.
Has an advantage by about a car length now. Out of turn 2. Half a lap to go. Katie Height entered this race 6th in points, in danger of being out of the Final 4 for the 2nd season running. It took 2 laps to go. She'll win at Chicagoland. And it's a side-by-side finish at the line. Josh Arnold takes 2nd and gains some very valuable points. Hunter Peach takes 3rd. Bailey Thompson, a fantastic finish in 4th. Zach Meredith, your top 5. Swatsworth, Sasek, Gibney, Withers, Inzier, your top 10. The only 10 on the lead lap. But Katie Height will go to Fontana as a championship contender once again, ahead of Josh Arnold and denying him a Cinderella story. Katie Height We'll burn it down in Joliet. A winner at Chicagoland, a winner once again, and a Championship 4 finalist once again. Josh Arnold did everything he could to try to get to victory lane. We'll hear from our podium finishers here momentarily. And Caitlin Height, an outstanding job. The rest of the team going to try to celebrate, but it's Caitlin Height that matters the most tonight of all nights.
Honestly, it's a bit fitting to say the least, because considering the fact that Lady Liberty has been one of the strongest teams this season, both drivers making the Final Four, the two strong horses at Lady Liberty, it's almost a fitting conclusion. So Lady Liberty will have 2 bullets in the metaphorical gun to try to win a drivers and an owners championship. The question is, can they pull that off? But 3 right now, not worrying about that right now. She's going to celebrate like there's no tomorrow. And she is your winner here at Chicagoland. But heartbreak for both Arnold and Peach. They're going to have to drive their wheels off to try to get a chance to make the Final Four.
Again, we'll hear from our podium finishers here in just a moment. Caitlin Height burning it down. Outstanding style. Caitlin Height sitting right there, front and center, as a Championship 4 finalist once again. As Kristina Ryan plays with the cameras. Yeah, close up on that NordVPN Chevrolet. See if we can, in the meantime, well, we got 15 laps left for Kristina Ryan. See if we can get a full rundown on the finishing results here. After a fantastic race for the 28-car field, Caitlin Height, Josh Arnold, Hunter Peach, the podium finishers. Again, we'll try to get a hold of them momentarily. But here is the results from Chicagoland. An outstanding drive for all 3 of the top 3 there. Bailey Thompson, 4th place ahead of Zach Meredith. Good drives for all of them. A good recovery for Shad Swatsworth, 6th place for him. Ahead of Eli Sasek, who started 12th, came up to 7th place. Kevin Gibney Jr., Tommy Withers, Lilac Zier, Josh Susie 1 lap down in 12th and 11th place after starting this race top 3, but he's already locked in from winning last week at Watkins Glen, so less sweat for him in this race. Pacey Wygant in 12th after having to make a pit stop. I believe a speeding penalty is what dinged him at the end, because he was in that championship conversation. Bobby Blowers, Martin Rober, Gary Donaldson, Caleb Carter, Byron Jones, Dustin Hall up to 18th at the end there, Richard Odie and Josh Game in your top 20. And looking for that on the order is Lily Frazier, Dean Clavitt, Alfred Denny, some of the retirements in this race. And Elias Flores, your top 24 here in Chicagoland. In the Final Four, Zach Apperson, Callie Height, Austin Mongol, DeMonte Dotson, the 28 finishers here as we head to Bristol in 7 days' time. Let's go ahead and grab Hunter Peach, and I'll let Kevin interview Hunter, the 3rd place finisher tonight. We'll see if we can get a hold of Arnold and Caitlin Height as well. But Kevin, take it away from pit lane.
All right, we found Hunter Peach here in 3rd position. Hunter, how are you?
Doing good. How about y'all?
I'm doing all right here. It was a great race there, but we got to get to the nit and gritty here. So we'll start off at the beginning, because I was kind of talking about in the broadcast a little bit. You seem to really thrive at these tracks where that high line works and it plays well to your strengths. So what was your secret to having good success here tonight?
Kyle Larson, I guess. I don't know, but anyways, no, that really like running the outside. It's fun. Track kind of suits, I guess, similar to in a way Kentucky, and kind of I can't think of the other track. There's another one where it kind of drives about the same, at least to my style. So I mean, no, it's kind of like that. Just that's how I kind of treat some of these tracks, and why I just run good at Rockingham, because they kind of drive similar. Um, but no, it's just apparently once the nighttime came in, it got tight where the outside was just irrelevant. I don't know why. I guess because the track was slicker, but I really don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving further on here, obviously you ran good, you're doing good, and then final pit stops came in, green flag pit stops. We saw you splash a dash, and then you were in that final pack there. You were in that basically that chance to win. I gotta ask, with that battle with height and whatnot, were you worried you burned up your stuff? What was kind of going through your mind in that battle between you, Arnold, and height with about 20 laps to go?
Yeah, just in the back of my mind, just another Chicagoland win, just took away, I guess, again. It's the same result. We run good the first 2 stages in any Chicagoland race I do, and as soon as it hits that final, it's kind of just the same result, and I just can't figure it out. It's either the car just gets too tight, or I burn my stuff, or I just missed something early in the race, what people were doing, and just I don't know. But no, the battle with Josh and all that, I knew with the way the track was transitioning where I couldn't run the middle to the high side no more like I was in the first stage where I was able to kind of make those 4 wide passes and 3 earlier in the race to get the positions. It really didn't work as much anymore, and it's kind of became a bottom group because it seemed like the cars kind of like me and Josh were just balancing out. Like I tried fourth gear, tried fifth gear, back in the corner up, running high, running low, and it just seemed to match out either way, and just the right front just burnt up every time and getting tight after about 10 laps. So really nothing I could do besides just don't really want to race a kind of co-teammate that hard, knowing that obviously would love to see him get a win. He's worked really hard, but St. Caitlin drove really good and get the win. She deserved it. Kind of played it right with us battling, but anyways, just I mean nothing you could do. It just balances out.
Moving further on, obviously, as you kind of hit the nail on the head, Bristol is next week. It's the final chance for drivers to punch their way into the final 4. And right now, with your good stage points, you're trending in the right direction. Obviously, I don't have the math in front of me, but I'd assume you're at least in the good chance to at least point your way in. So what's your mindset going into Bristol next week? Obviously, you're probably going to want to go for the win, but is knowing that you may be in a more of a comfortable spot than other drivers, are you going to take it a little bit differently?
I think we're in a little bit of trouble here. I was doing a little bit of math throughout the race. Had somebody kind of do a little bit for me, at least the best he can. What we kind of calculated was with Caitlin not winning, kind of like the way the stage were playing out, I was probably at least sitting third in the final 4 right now. So we were sitting really good with Caitlin winning. We were kind of battling her for like that last transfer. So it's kind of hurts us a little bit more in the long run than Josh winning the race. So I would kind of prefer Josh to win over Caitlin because it probably would have helped me a little bit better in the points. Knowing me and Caitlin tight for that last transfer, especially with Pacey. So I'm thinking it's maybe like a 2 point gap between us 3, maybe 5. Um, and obviously Bristol's kind of just that track where anything can happen and don't fully really know. And yeah, I enjoy it, but well, I guess we'll see how it goes.
Hey, that's sometimes all you can do. Obviously, we got to the portion of the interview. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, whatever? The floor is yours. Take it away.
Obviously, got to shout out Noah Blackwell Designs. Check him out at noahblackwelldesigns.com. He does paints and everything. Made this little Sour Patch and theme for Halloween or October, so it's kind of a little bit a day early from October, but decided to like do a little Sour Patch Halloween theme car on it, so I turned out really good by him and like what he did there. Also, yeah, shout out Pizza and Wings podcast. Go subscribe to them on YouTube. Um, Everybody back at NFG. It was nice to see the whole team showed up today. I don't know where really everybody finished. I saw them kind of run up front a little bit. Shout out to David for letting me drive this car and this charter for the season. Try everything I can for him to get him in the final 4 to get him a second championship. So hopefully we can do that. And then got a shout out 213simware.com.
It's been great talk to you, Hunter. Obviously, wish you well next week, and hopefully we'll be talking to you as possibly a Final 4 driver. But you take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Hopefully not another third.
And that was Hunter Peach, our 3rd place finisher. I think Carmen has found our 2nd place finisher, I believe. That's in pit lane.
Absolutely. I've got Josh Arnold here in pit lane, 2nd place, so close to a first career win, but a good step forward for the 2-car, a fighting chance, and that's what the 2 team needed going through tonight's race. Josh, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Obviously, a wild race here, less than 3 miles away from a win. Walk us through your race, and obviously the battle there between you, Hunter, and Katie. Absolutely barn burner stuff. Was there anything left in that 2-car to try to hold off the 3?
I don't think there was. I think I raced my heart out trying to get in front of Peach. And then Katie was sitting back there saving tires watching us. And so that ended up, playing a factor there at the end. But I'm just smiling. I couldn't, ask for a better race. I dug myself and Katie into a into a hole last week with that bus stop. But, just tried to do everything I could. Did a lot of laps of practice for Chicago and Bristol just to prove that I belong in this round. 2nd straight year of making it, and that road course always trips me up. But just tried to give it my all tonight.
It was an absolutely fantastic fight and a really good run all night long for the 2-car. Qualifying went well, top 5 there. And the car just looked really hooked up here for you. We know how good you are at this track, though. This is a track that was the one that got away last season. You got to at least race for the race win this time around. You went in with a lot of pressure here. It now goes down to Bristol, but that two car has had a really good run on these ovals, and the short ovals have not been unkind to that two car as well. What does Bristol feel like for that two car? Is there a little bit of a last gasp for that two car to try to get into the championship four? And if so, where are you at as far as being able to compete for that race win coming up next week in Bristol? Because it's do or die for the two car, and that two car has looked so good on these ovals in the chase. Just a little bit of bad luck. You look at Atlanta, you look at a couple races throughout the chase. Is there a rebound at Bristol coming?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, judging by tonight, it was so fantastic and so fun. I mean, like 90% of the laps were just stellar racing and fun. The boring ones were the single file. Okay, let's say that. But every other lap was just so fun tonight from everybody, and there was people giving us playoff drivers a little bit of room, a little bit of extra room than they would have, and some of us took advantage of that. But just looking forward to Bristol. Carmen, I've been replaying in my head the ending of last Bristol. I think I was right on Shad's back bumper, and we were trying to pass a lapped car with about 30, 40 laps to go. And I nosed into the outside wall and brought her home at the back half of the top 10 and called it a season. But looking forward to I keep replaying in my head if I can get just 50 laps to go and be in second place. I really just, who knows what will happen. But and just going to go out and practice another 1,000 laps this week, and show up Monday night with my head held high and see what happens.
Well, we know that two cars got the job. You got the juice behind it to get it done here. A fantastic team effort all the way through, a big dominant team effort. Just not the finishing result. 3 miles away from that. Bristol
Yeah.
coming up. We hope to see that two car battling for a championship in Fontana, but there's Bristol in the way of that. Before we let you get ready for that last great Coliseum in Thunder Valley, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, Josh, the floor is yours. It's been a lot of fun watching you this season. We got 2 more races. Hopefully, the next one is the one that gets you in championship contention.
I first want to shout out ABN because put on the best broadcast that I've seen anybody do. Calling iRacing, just like amazing work in and out preseason, before the races, the social media, the broadcast is just like absolutely top notch. There's nobody else that does it better. And then NJB Designs, who is sponsoring me for these playoffs. Cheap paint schemes. Sometimes, hey, they paint champions, and maybe they'll get a chance to paint me and paint me a championship. But just thank Blake and all the admins here in the league.
I appreciate the compliment. I think everyone here at ABN, all the people behind the scenes, appreciate it as well. We hope to see that two car battling for a race win once again in Thunder Valley in 7 days' time. Josh, enjoy the podium tonight, and let's see that two car go for a championship in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, we going to run in the highway after this.
Absolutely. Have a good night, Josh, and enjoy the podium.
Thanks, everybody.
A fantastic job there by Josh Arnold. Always fun to see an underdog. He shouldn't be an underdog with how good he runs at tracks like this, but without a race win, he's going to be in the underdog column. Hopefully that changes at Bristol next week. A fantastic job here. We got one more person to interview, though. It is a party for Lady Liberty Motorsports. Once again, 2 drivers back in the championship 4 for the first time since season 3. And it is none other than tonight's race winner, Caitlin Height. Katie, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy.
Hello.
What a drive. What a race for that 3 car. A contending car all night long. Couldn't say the best car, but the best when it mattered most, and that was at the very end. What a race for you. Walk us through, I guess we'll start with the end of that race there, having to drive through, not only get through Hunter Peach, but also get through Josh Arnold. Walk through that, because that car looked hooked up at the nighttime.
Yeah, it all sort of started at the uh, green flag pit stop there. Actually blew through the stall just a little bit and I had to back it up. And that cost me just a little bit of time. But I threw 2 tires on it just watching what people were doing in practice and knew that that was probably going to be my best shot at actually fighting for the win because having to fight through traffic beforehand, I was just 2.5 seconds behind the leaders and somehow just losing a bit of time. So I just had to really do something. And I just tried to hold on to Hunter and Josh up there as best I could, just sort of saving. And I was thinking, like, when I started racing Hunter with like 5 or 6 to go, I just thought, that's it. Josh was just gonna be able to drive away as we're fighting side by side. But yeah, it was just sort of head down, and Josh, unfortunately for him, made a few mistakes, got the wall a little bit, and just allowed me to close up. And I'm surprised that I was able to just stick the car on the bottom and complete the pass without him fighting back on exit. It was I was shocked, but I'll take it.
Obviously, for you, it comes off of this race is it punches your ticket into the championship for after you missed the championship for not through any reason of your own. You had to miss races last season. Being able to get back to the championship conversation and finish what you started almost 2 years ago. As scary as it is to say that it's been 2 years since you joined HTL, it's now you and your teammate Josh Susie in the championship four at Fontana. Bristol, you can kind of breeze through because everyone's going to be on a level playing field in Fontana. What is it like being able to be back in the championship competition or in the conversation for Fontana after what has been so long away, where your name sort of began being cast as sort of just one in the crowd? What does that do for you, just mentally getting ready for that? That you're in that conversation again, and you should be a heavy favorite for that with your history in HTL and everything. Being able to win here does a lot for you. Where does that set you mentally going into the last race of the season? Because Bristol, you can sort of just skip through at this point now. Is that the case for you, or is it sort of just try to win Bristol, keep that momentum going? Is it still just push, push, push through the rest of the season?
Well, mentally, it's just a huge stress relief. Because now I don't have to worry about next weekend showing up and just trying to really focus for, 200 some odd laps and just at Bristol of all places. And instead, I can just sort of mind my own self, just sort of look forward to, 2 weeks then and just, think that's what I have to focus on instead of, all the constant worry. And speaking of constant worry, staying safe online is ever growing difficulty. And, NordVPN can help keep that, make you harder to track and secure your privacy.
Well, NordVPN secured you another championship Final Four. It did a fantastic. It looks fantastic as well. Shout out to the person that made that car.
Shout out to
Um,
Callie.
Absolutely. She did fantastic. I've seen the original version of that car too. Both of them look fantastic. A fantastic job all the way through here. Before we let you go, obviously, Callie painted the car for you that got you to victory lane here tonight. If there's anyone else you want to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. You're in the championship four once again. Congratulations on that. Take it away.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone in the ABM booth here for broadcasting, commentary, all the fantastic pictures brought to the audience tonight. Always a top tier job. HTL admins every week for putting on the show and doing everything that is necessary for us to have a race. Everyone at Lady Liberty and Valfreya, the conglomerate there, just really working together, just bouncing off ideas between one another. Just really great time, just racing with each other. And of course, I want to give a shout out to all the fans back at home. There's Lexi, Emily, uh, Rain, Zeke, Ophelia, the good old boy Chubbs. Sev. I know I'm probably missing like a bunch of others, but hell yeah, that was great to just get that win.
It was much deserved. It was a lot of fun to watch from flag to flag, from bell to bell tonight. Katie, enjoy the race win, extending your history as the winningest HTL Cup Series driver in history. We hope to see you do even more of the same at Bristol next week, but even more importantly, your first HTL championship at Fontana in 2 weeks. Katie, enjoy the race win. Have a great night, and we'll see you again in Thunder Valley.
All right, thanks a lot.
That was Katie Height, race winner here tonight. An absolutely barnstorming drive. There is very few that do it as well as Caitlin Height has done. Her history speaks for itself in a lot of ways here, as I get to do the fun thing. I get to pull up the stats from the season so far. Obviously, you think about Caitlin's record, 14 race wins. 14 race wins now for Car 3 and Caitlin Height in 60 starts. She is the winningest driver, and it's only her teammate, Josh Susi, that sits close behind her with 9 wins. And they've won back-to-back races here with 2 races to go in the season. An outstanding race, outstanding all the way through. Chicagoland doesn't disappoint. These mile and a halves are HTL's bread and butter. They keep saying the plate races are. It's races like right here tonight that are absolutely fantastic. We get one more for the finale. We got Bristol, which was fantastic last season as well. Every bit of the drama that we were expecting in Thunder Valley. Do we see the same thing in 7 days' time? We'll find out. We hope you join us again tomorrow night, because we get a sample of Bristol early. Tomorrow night, the HTL Hammer Down Truck Series at Thunder Valley, the last great Coliseum, for their penultimate race of the season. That's right here on ABN1. ABN Studios, another short track. This time, it is the Super Paperclip of USA International Speedway for the Champ Car World Series on ABN Studios on YouTube, 8 p.m. as well there. And then join us, 8:30, for a race at New Smyrna for the ARCS Racing Experience. We've got racing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. We have our Indianapolis 500 for our ABN Creative Community. That's on Friday as well, right here on ABN 1 at 10 p.m. On behalf of the broadcast producer, Kristina Ryan, my co-commentator, and someone who's spent so much time already this season, Kevin Young, alongside me, I'm Carmen Sienna. We appreciate you. We thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy this week. We'll see you tomorrow night in Thunder Valley. On behalf of ABN Studios, signing off. Good night, everybody.